But my theory was right again.
Wait, which theory?
About Karkaroff, Crockpot.
Crockpot? What was your theory about Crockpot?
I didn't like him, and I thought he was being acting, and he was not good. Yep.
I wrote all of that kind of stuff out. Because Sirius says that, right? He's like, of course he'd be a good actor. In my head, when I read that, I was like, Jen would love this. She is reading at home going, I am a great predictor. I'm better than you guys at this.
Is that prideful? But I'm loving it.
No, you're so good at it. Own it, girl.
It's my favorite thing to do.
Own it.
To predict.
Welcome, podcast listeners. Welcome, first-time listeners.
Woo-hoo. Welcome.
Welcome.
Sorry,
we're a little late. It's all right. We're an unorganized bunch. We're just hanging out.
It's a Wednesday. Sorry,
yeah, it's a Wednesday night. Come on.
I was just choked on spaghetti.
We're eating our dinners over here. For you guys online too, just so you know, say anything anytime we're talking about something. If you want to like add a comment or anything, and I will throw it in if I can read it. Sometimes I get a little distracted by our discussions, but I'll usually try to get everything in. If you want to contribute or anything, you guys know that. I think Calvin and Tudlascow. I don't know how to say your name, but you guys are like our originals too. So thanks for joining us again. We'll probably get more trickling in a little bit. Weren't these 2 chapters so good?
They were awesome.
So good.
Loved
and you made me stop again.
I know. 21. I'm sorry, but it wasn't like that long. It was like a half a week.
Seriously.
Come on.
Do you know I finished it in on Monday? Like we recorded everyone on Sunday, and then I read everything on Monday, and then I had to wait. So then I redid it.
Ooh, nice.
I almost did it 3 times.
Because it's a good chunk of chapters.
Because I feel like I missed a little bit, so I was
Yeah.
like, I need to go back. Because you're gonna ask some detailed question that I'm gonna forget about. That I read it.
These are honestly just so
and
much
this one
fun.
with his notes.
Yeah.
Like, what about?
Margins.
There's a few things I want to intro this with, but actually, hold on. Let me pull up the live stream before we kind of like start, because I got to find the chat on my computer. Sorry. Oops.
What was chapter 19 called again? The dragon name, right?
Hungarian Horntail.
Yeah, Hungarian Horntail. And then, okay, good. We're good. Okay, so I keep doing this. Finally
I
I'm here.
didn't see that. Interesting.
I gotta pull up this Reddit thread real quick.
So the picture on the chapter is all 4 dragons
Mm-hmm.
and all of their keepers. What are they called again?
Wait, the picture on the cover?
I'm
No, not
sorry.
cover,
Should I
chapter
say cover?
picture.
I meant chapter.
Oh, there's 4. Oh, wow. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I know it's not visible in the original books, I'm like, oh,
I
nice.
know.
I feel like I have to cover it up
Yeah.
almost.
You got to take one of our bookmarks. Also, if you guys want a bookmark, if you're watching online, just email me, firsttimereaders@gmail.com.
I want to use so many bookmarks. Because I have this. My
that's
Bookstagram
fantastic.
And then the little magnet ones. So I'm using 2, but I'm like, I also want to use ours.
Yep.
How many bookmarks can I use at once?
Use a new one.
A
for each book.
ton. It'll just have like
I've
a
been
huge
switching.
gap.
And then
You just have a huge gap. You'll stack it and just be like, yeah,
this
I'm
is where I stopped
reading.
last time. You could write the date on every
Yes.
single bookmark. Just keep sticking them in.
That's a great idea.
Even if you want to take bookmarks, if you're watching on the live stream and you want bookmarks, email me, firsttimereaders@gmail.com. Even if you want to just go to a bookstore and
Promote
and just
our
put the
stuff.
bookmarks in Harry Potter books just so people can find the podcast. There's a QR code on it too, so they can find the podcast. So it's kind of fun. Anyway,
Minions.
I know.
They love us. I hope you guys love us.
Right?
Please say yes.
My internet keeps cutting out, so I just gotta. Okay, perfect. All right. On the last podcast, we talked for a few minutes about Hermione's maturity. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Like we were talking how Hermione just seems head and shoulders more mature than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I love our community so much. I love our little subreddit. I love people on YouTube because they're not only dissecting Harry Potter, but they're dissecting what we say, and they're like finding new things about the Harry Potter universe. So
That you didn't know about?
yeah, I had no idea
Wow.
about it.
Mind blown.
But this is, so people were like looking onto other theories about this. Some people have thought about this idea, but not too many, because it's like a less subtle point in the book. You have to actually have a good understanding and grasp of Hermione's maturity when you're reading through these books. And sometimes you could just bypass it of saying, girls are more mature than boys or smarter than boys at this age.
Yeah.
But we were talking about it at this age. But a few of we had a Vadermort, or one of our great subredditors, said I know, said this, which to me was fascinating. On the last pod, there was a brief discussion about how mature Hermione is compared to Harry and Ron. Some of this, I'm sure, is because girls just tend to mature quicker than boys. Anyways, I wonder how much of this is due to her time turner use the previous year. We could probably figure out mathematically how many extra hours she lived for the class, but we'll have no idea how much she used the time turner for extra study, rest periods, sleep, etc. So possibly she's actually older. She's like 10 months older than Harry. Just realistically, I think one of our Redditors said.
Yeah.
And she's on top of that. Probably some people were figuring there were guesses all over the place. Some people were figuring like 5 or 6 days, because some people have actually done this math outside of our own community. And they just found that. Some people were factoring like 2 or 3 months. Some people were factoring maybe 6 or 7 months. And because Hermione's a studier.
So why would she stop? She could just, anytime she wants to study, read another book,
do
something more.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So some people,
6 or 7
Hermione,
months would be insane.
But here's the only issue with this, and this is a slight debate because no one exactly knows how this works. But she was also petrified for a number of months. Yep. And some people think that that's kind of being like frozen in, like cryo sleep or something. Where,
no aging.
Yeah, no aging.
So it balanced.
So it balanced out.
Huh.
But isn't that crazy how Reddit community
is she still using the time turner every once in a while, or she handed that back in?
No, she had to hand it in. Yeah. So it was just for a year. She handed it back in because she was too overwhelming for her. So she's not using it anymore. Where was that? McGonagall gave it to her. So she probably handed it back to...
Wait, you say probably, but do we know that?
In the book, or you know that because you're Harry Potter?
He knows Hermione personally.
It's in the book, but it's subtly...
It's just like slipped in there.
It's slipped in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Where I think at the end of the book, she said something like, I'm not using this anymore, or I'm handing this back in to McGonagall. I don't want another year like this one. So it was a subtle line that you can probably read and say, you know what, maybe she didn't really hand it in because you don't have the physical evidence of her handing it in.
It was just her intention for a moment was to hand it in.
So she
that.
still
and she
could have
verbalized
that
it
thing
out loud to keep herself accountable, but no one ever followed up. We don't know.
I'm sure she handed it in.
Oh, that's true. She follows.
Yeah,
the
she's
rules.
Hermione.
Yeah.
And if she's working with McGonagall,
You wouldn't have handed it in. I would have.
that's like a double.
Yeah, they're both
McGonagall is
very
super strict.
strict.
Hermione is super strict. Even if one is feeling emotional at one particular time, they're not going to let that govern them. But I just love our Reddit community because they're coming up with this kind of stuff.
Right.
I never thought of that. Mom, Hermione's more mature. There's a few lines in these chapters too, 19 and 20, that show that she's a lot more mature. But I never thought it was because of the time turner, or because she's actually like growing older than Harry and Ron.
Because she's then potentially a year older than Harry, year and a half if we get crazy with it. So,
the equivalent in American high school is freshman year, and that is really where I think the largest disparity, like 8th grade to freshman year. Yeah. Like girls are like a foot taller than guys. They're like thinking clearer.
True for me.
Me neither.
There's a few outliers, but
both of us.
So I feel like that's kind of where it's hitting. So on top of all that.
So in the movies, do the guys have like high pitched voices in this one? Crackling. Next one.
I think the third one is when they experience the most puberty. This one, they seem to be a bit more level headed.
Really? I missed
the second and the third one, because I think they couldn't film the movies like every year perfectly on the dot. So I think they were 11 when they cast them as their roles, and he's probably like 16, maybe probably not 17, but maybe like 16-ish filming this when he should be 14. So they've outgrown their puberty stage.
Nice.
I
don't know why I asked.
Aren't these chapters so good though? These two?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I kept thinking, I was like, I can't wait to see it in the movie too. Like these chapters.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm very curious. It's going to be good.
So good. I don't like the rules of this competition though. So unfair. All haphazard and crazy. Picking a different dragon, but they all have different temperaments. That's not fair. Oh my goodness.
It's so
and the point
unbalanced.
system, I was like yelling at my book.
Oh,
Makes no
wow.
sense.
Biased, like we talked about.
Of
And if you're
course.
going to have biased judges, which is a guarantee, and we saw it happen, at least make the biased ones give their numbers at the same time first,
Yeah.
then the unbiased judges at the end.
Yeah.
But
Or each one shouldn't
Karkaroff
vote for their
literally
own
changing the number.
house. Like
yeah,
whatever school,
you
they
have to
shouldn't
like
be allowed to
not
vote.
give numbers for your own house would also
Yeah.
make a lot of sense.
Yeah, seriously, that's the one
Yeah.
you're exempt from.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they can't skew it. They still can, but like it
Yeah.
wouldn't be as harsh.
They just
Large.
shouldn't have the school heads be judges. You get 3 or
Yeah.
4 impartial judges and you're
Right.
you're set. It's ridiculous that Karkaroff is a judge. Anyway, we'll talk about this more.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Welcome to the
Thanks, man.
podcast. I'm John,
Jen.
Danny?
And Kristen.
and this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. All right, the Hungarian Horntail. We are on the first task, pretty much. The Hungarian Horntail and the first task are these 2 chapters. Someone give me a summary, quickly, of the Hungarian Horntail.
Dragons are the first challenge. Rita's Daily Prophet article was all about Harry, and it was full of lies. Charlie arrived at Hogwarts. Sirius talked to Harry through the fire. Karkaroff was in Azkaban, we found out. And Ron and Harry are still fighting.
Do you still like Rita Skeeter?
Now
that
I
has
very
come
much
out.
dislike her. I still think her role is important as a journalist, but now I don't even think she's the best journalist. I don't think she's even very good at all. So I very much dislike her. Bending the truth, making things up, manipulating Harry
I feel
over
like
the
she's
line.
like a Today journalist
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
in
Yeah.
the media today.
Yep.
But
Okay, there's a point to this. She's not a very good nonfiction writer. As far as fiction is concerned, do you actually think that she's making Harry more likable? And maybe this is just a general question for you guys. Do you find Harry likable just by himself as he is right now in these books?
No.
I don't like him that much.
Really?
But that's why I think Rita is a great thing to help us like Harry, because now we can feel bad for him.
Yeah.
But I like him in certain moments, but there are a lot of moments I don't think he's a very good person.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a great friend, and he's just a
Yeah.
little bit too like self-centered, and
Little animal
he doesn't
abuser.
take care of Hedwig. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, Harry.
Animal abuse.
He's got a long way to go before I'm gonna like be fully psyched on Harry.
What
Yeah.
yeah, Jen, you don't like him that much.
I just, he's just like there. I mean, obviously the whole book's about him, but like what am I trying to say? It's just like,
Wes. Hey.
At
Wes.
least I didn't bark back.
that's how he feels about Harry too.
I know.
True.
My dog's
Speaking
got
for
feelings
me.
on Harry.
He just like, I guess I feel for him too though, because he's basically like an orphan, and like the people that were raising him don't even like him. So how does your personality from like your nurture versus nature thing, like the nurturing he didn't even have,
Right.
basically. So I guess the selfishness is kind of coming from that maybe. But I guess everything just seems like handed to him, kind of like Ron was saying, like you just get everything. And like it's a little annoying because he's also young, doesn't know how to handle it. But I guess that's what it annoys me.
Yeah.
It really is kind of annoying because Harry doesn't want any of this stuff, so I feel for him,
Yeah.
but he just gets everything.
Yeah.
I mean, like that Ron wants. Everything that Ron wants. So he seems like a bad friend to Ron at points. He's definitely not a great friend to Hermione either, I think. I do think he is getting a lot of unfortunate things happen to him. which doesn't kind of excuse some of his behavior, I think. But I feel for him a little bit.
But he did take this as like a champ in a way, because he just got his name thrown in to this Triwizard.
And he did great.
And he just took it. He could have been complaining. He could have been like, no, get me out of here. I want, like, this isn't fair. He just accepted it. But is that prideful? Like, oh, like.
Yeah, I mean, we don't
name
see
got in there.
too much pride. Like, we don't really see him ever getting
Boasting.
arrogant about it. I don't think. And I had mixed feelings about his like heart, because we've seen some really good stuff out of him in the past with Neville and, you know, facing crazy things. But here I was annoyed when he saw the dragons and didn't resist that like cheating element. And in the end, we found out maybe cheating is expected and it's normal and whatever.
How would he resist the cheating?
Well, like when Hagrid was bringing him to see what it was, he knew what was happening. He could have said, I don't want to see this. I don't need any extra help.
That's what you would have said.
I'm not saying that's what I would have said. To be honest, I would have taken everything I could get.
I thought you want no spoilers.
And even with Moody and whatever else, I'm like, Harry keeps saying he's totally fine. Bagman, right before he's about to go in, is like, you want some pointers?
Yeah.
Harry's like, nope, I'm good. I'm like, are you kidding me? If I was Harry, I'd be asking every person I could find about pointers, because all these guys who know what the challenges are, you know, they're just having their fun trying to think like, how would I do it? So if Bagman's going to offer him advice, take it. And if you don't trust Bagman, that's fine. You don't have to do what he suggests.
Yeah.
But at least it would give you more knowledge than you could say, he suggested this. I'm still going to do my firebolt thing. And afterwards, I'm going to go to Moody and say, here's what Bagman suggested. Was he trying to get me killed, or was he trying to help me succeed? But now we're getting into the next chapter. But at least Harry told Cedric.
I know, that was
because
really
then
nice.
I'm like, all right, you cheated. I didn't like that. Whatever. But at least he then included Cedric because he wanted it to be fair and even. And that felt like a big move. He didn't have to do that. So now I'm like, oh man, that's cool. Harry is taking some steps in the right direction.
I think he's got attributes to him that are annoying, where you're like, why is he bad friend to these people? Why is he not nice to Hedwig? Why is he like, you know, he seems self-centered in some instances. But there's lines that we get in his head that you find him a little redeemable, and you're hoping those lines come out a little bit more. Like the one you mentioned with Cedric, where in Harry's mind it says Harry wouldn't have let his worst enemy face those monsters unprepared. Yeah. Well, perhaps Malfoy or Snape. So yeah. And I love those lines because this is like the hope of Harry, and this is like kind of how you want him to come out. And I think this is really the battle that you get. I think this is why he's a relatable character too, because he has is prone to mood swings, and he's a high school kid. And one day he's gonna wake up feeling great, and the next day he's at war with his best friend. You know, like this is high school, and he's relatable because I think none of us are purely good all the time, or happy all the time, or like great all the time.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, except Jen.
Definitely not.
But like in those lines that we get of Harry saying like he doesn't want this even for his worst enemy, you're like, yeah, that's the direction that I want to go in. That's a healthier direction for Harry. So he seems like he's a person that can grow into this kind of role. And honestly, Rita Skeeter, terrible journalist as far as the truth is concerned. Great in making him more likable. If I'm reading this article, like just like Mrs. Weasley said, she's like at home crying, like, oh, he still cries about his parents, like bless his heart. Like this makes Harry so much more.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot even about those things.
It makes Harry so much more likable. And I don't think Harry's purpose is to be likable, but that's maybe his flaw, and that he's famous and he wants nothing to do with it. So he doesn't, he like shuts people down that want him to be like want his autograph, like Colin Creevey thinks he's like a dweeb. Yeah. I'm like, yes, Harry, you're like famous and you don't want to be famous, but at least have patience to temper these people. And yes, Rita's not telling the truth, but she's doing a good job of making him a little bit more likable.
Yeah, that's actually true. And even though she exaggerated things about Harry, she wasn't like completely off base. It kind of, I mean, Harry's maybe not crying physical tears every night, but he's thinking about his parents all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And in subtle ways he might not even realize he's still like working to, I don't know, not get revenge is too harsh, but at least like get some closure on things with his parents.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. That wasn't actually that harsh. I'm trying to think of what lies she told in her article.
I feel like she just exaggerates things.
Yeah.
And it's not. Well, is that a lie?
Oh,
Maybe
the
it
thing
is.
with Hermione, that's what got me
yeah.
mad.
Oh.
Yeah.
But if you were an outsider and you're watching it, you could think that they're always together.
Yeah.
So-
And yeah, for sure. It's a good observation. And she even speaks highly of Hermione. Says a beautiful, someone calls her a beautiful fourth year girl or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Hermione feels great by that. 'Cause
Right,
she probably has
right.
never been
Yeah.
called that at freaking Hogwarts ever.
Aw.
Like Ron and Harry, I'm like, okay, your best friend's a girl. Call her beautiful every once in a while in like a friendship way, you know?
How does
And
that
they don't
work?
get that. What?
Nah, I'm just kidding.
So Hermione probably feels great by this. I kind of
What
love
page
that.
is that on?
315.
Yep.
Although, yes,
Oh,
she
sorry,
is
314.
stretching the truth here.
But you're right. It's odd that she's actually making Harry look way better. And even talking about them like the top students in school, which Harry clearly isn't, but Hermione is. Well, maybe Harry is in his own way, but not in grades.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, man.
I had a professor in school who she wasn't deep into journalism, but she had done journalism before. She was like an author. She had mainly written nonfiction books. And one of the things that she told us it's always stuck with me, in an interview, if you're doing any like deep dive on a person or an interview, or if you're doing any kind of profile on a person, your number one job is to make that person look as good as possible. Unless it's a clear thing where you're like, this person needs to be exposed, if it's like investigative journalism. Or like if you're doing a profile. So we had to do profiles on people, and I had to do a profile on some guy. And my job was literally just to make him look as good as possible. Like you're writing this and like you're explaining that this person is brilliant, this person's cool. And that's what a lot of profilists do. And that's why they're really enamoring to read, because you're like, this person is like, a god. Like how can they be this cool or this great? And she's doing a good job of that, I think.
She really is, yeah.
Although everything is stretched, it's like not the truth, which is where the issues come in.
And because I don't like her, I feel like she's doing it for her own selfish gain, not for Harry.
Yes.
And I feel like she's setting up, as we saw at the end of chapter 20, like for more stories. So it almost feels like she's trying to set Harry up so she can knock him down.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like now getting weird vibes. I'm like cautiously like, oh, I do not like her, because if she's willing to lie for the good things, she'd be willing to lie for the bad things.
Yep.
And I'm afraid she will do more bad later. I also don't like that she misspelled the names of the other champions. Didn't even mention Cedric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really not an article about the Triwizard Tournament at all.
Yeah.
Which feels kind of lame, because that's good content. Write that article.
I know.
Yeah.
She just needs to do 2 different articles. One, do a profile on Harry.
Yep.
Because what she's writing to me, if I am a reader, and I've known about Harry Potter my entire life, and I know he's at Hogwarts, if I'm a wizard, that is, I don't care about, like, the Triwizard Tournament is fascinating to me, but that is by far the more important story, more interesting story. It's a person who's never had a profile written about them in their life, and he's at school and he's aging up, and you're like, who is this person? This is so fascinating to read and learn about. I would read that article in a heartbeat. Oh, 1 second, the screen went black. I think my camera just died.
Uh-oh. Time to battery swap.
I know. We're working on it. Anyway.
Oh, can they still hear us?
Yeah, they can. You guys can still hear us, but I
nice.
think the screen just goes black.
That's good.
But it's like the one chance someone's getting to, like, interview Harry Potter. Everyone knows of him, but this is like, she's
Maybe
probably
Dumbledore's
like,
been blocking her out for a while.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
And
probably
this was
true.
her only excuse to get in, the Triwizard Tournament. But if she was coming in just to interview Harry, she wouldn't have been allowed.
Right.
Speculation, but maybe.
Well, she threw away that pen really quick when she saw Dumbledore.
Right.
The quick
Yep.
quill. Something.
Yeah, the quick quotes quill.
Quick
All right,
quotes
we're back.
quill.
We got video again.
That's a really neat pen, though. I would love that.
That'd be so nice.
Even if it
It
doesn't
makes me
misspell
write
people's
better.
names.
Yeah,
know.
for sure. I want that in
But
my
even
life.
like all those thoughts in your head.
Like, actually, like,
Forget.
words to these thoughts would
Right.
be great.
Coherent.
I think we even talked about that early on. That
What?
would be a cool thing to have when we were talking about the journal.
I think
and
so.
stuff.
Well, yeah, because he
Like,
kept asking us about quills. I wonder why.
I'm telling you, if you re-listen to the pod, I'm kind of proud of myself for some little things that I threw in there.
Yeah, nice.
yeah, good.
It's been fun to like sneak certain things in. Just hear your thoughts about
Yeah,
like
you
one or
have
two things
asked
and
like
random. And
random things,
Love
and I'm
it.
like, it's gonna come up, but then I forget, and then it comes
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I remember. He asked about if it'd be cool to have a pen that writes for you one of those days. It's fun. Anyway, there's a line in this where Ron and Harry are still at war with each other, and Harry goes to Hermione. I didn't start this, Harry said stubbornly. It's his problem. And Hermione cuts through all of that, doesn't care about anything that he says there, and goes, you miss him, Hermione said impatiently. And I know he misses you. I love that so much. So much. So maybe this is going to be a little different of a question. But who is a friend in your life that you really, really miss? You don't have to like say a name or anything like that. But is there someone, let's do an ode to friends we miss right now. Is there someone that you're like, I really miss having their friendship, even if it's like someone in kindergarten that you met, you're like, oh, I miss, playing with them in kindergarten. I'll start. I have a friend in Dallas, and he's married, and I haven't talked to him for a while now, and I really, really miss. We hung out all the time, and I lived in Dallas, and it was great. We're best friends. I was best man at his wedding. I haven't talked to him in a little while. I want to reconnect. I'm gonna write him a letter because he was the one that taught me calligraphy. He got me into it, and he was phenomenal at it. So good at it. And
This would be the perfect
I
time.
gotta write him a letter.
Yeah.
Calligraphed letter.
Love that. Yeah, my best friend from college, I was her maid of honor.
Yeah.
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 I miss her. Same. It's been a little while.
Yeah. It's sad how things
Her and her
drift
husband
apart.
have a baby girl that I never got to meet because they're down in Florida. But
Distance.
I know.
I know. Stinks.
Two friends. A tale of two Trevors.
Hmm.
The first is a Trevor that I met when I was at summer camp when I was in like second grade. First year summer camp, scared to leave home. And my grandma dropped me off. And this random kid I sat next to and talked while I was getting registered. And then he was put in my cabin. And then he puts his arm around me and says, oh, don't worry, Grammy. If he gets homesick, I'll take care of him.
Oh my gosh.
And then we were friends all week, and it was great.
Cute. I love
Ron
that.
Harry situation.
And then
Really cute.
at the end of that week, off we go. Never to see Trevor again.
Aww.
Yep. But I will always remember him.
Trevor,
For
if
whatever
you
reason.
did that at
Yep.
camp
Yeah.
You're
20-something
listening?
years ago,
Yeah.
and you're
Yep.
listening to this podcast.
You are missed.
Yeah.
And then my other friend Trevor,
Right,
moved
Reddit world,
away.
let's find him.
Classic. But,
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
I'm struggling with friends. I can go on a whole other tangent. It's a little different than maybe not.
Yeah. Go on any tangent that you want.
Yeah,
Take any
for
direction
sure.
you want with this.
Well, we're talking about like missing friendships, and it's interesting because I miss a friendship that changed. Like I missed how it was, and then
Yeah.
it changed, and now it's really hard to get back to that. So like I miss what it was,
Yeah.
and maybe can get back to it someday in the future. But
Which is
that's
probably more of what Harry's experiencing too.
Yeah.
Like Ron's around, but he misses the way it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, because people's personalities shift and change, and you don't see eye to eye on things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But Harry and Ron having a rough go at it. What do you think of their whole dynamic?
They're both being stubborn.
But I get it.
Good thing Hermione's
know.
around.
Yeah.
I just don't like that it's conditional. Whenever you go into like a thing like that where there's the condition, Harry says he would only talk to Ron again if Ron admitted that Harry hadn't put his name in. But then if Ron has a similar condition, they'll never be friends again.
Yep.
And that's
Right.
kind of lame. Like something's got to give. So I'm glad they ignored all that in the end. That was good.
They're
Yeah.
not walking a mile on each other's shoes. They're not getting in each other's perspectives.
True. But if you're Ron and you're seeing all this stuff,
Yes.
I kind of relate in a way to that, because it's like one more thing, and then yeah, right, like you didn't put your name in. Like, I don't know. I think it's just like it was a pile up of all this previous situations that added up, and then having his name appear was just like, that's it. Like, I can't.
It's the final straw that broke his back.
In a way, yeah. So no matter what he was saying, it was just too much. So
I'm with you on that. I'm not like on a team, but I'm Team Ron here.
Not on a team, but
I just feel really bad for him. I know that he is frustrated at this moment. I don't like how Ron handled it with when Harry was awarded the role of champion, that he was just like lingering up in the bedroom, like with a goofy little smile on his face, and he was just weird at that moment. I'm like, Ron, sit down and have a conversation with him. And if you're still frustrated that you feel like Harry's not telling you the truth, then you got to work that out yourself, or maybe then you can be mad at him and try to figure things out. But I do understand more of Ron's perspective here maybe than Harry's. I do understand Harry's too, I think. But Ron, people are even saying this on the chat, Ron has the one thing that Harry wants most, which is a family. And I think, no, hold on. I read that wrong. Oh, yeah. Ron has the one thing Harry wants most, which is a family. So Harry wants that. Harry wants what Ron has. Mm-hmm. But Ron wants exactly what Harry has. And Harry just keeps getting it and keeps getting it. Yeah. And Harry feels differently toward Ron, but Ron is it's just eating away at him, because every single place he goes to, he's the best friend of the kid who has everything that he wants. And I guess that's the same for Harry too, but I kind of feel bad for Ron here.
But everyone else sees Ron's... I'm saying that wrong.
Everyone sees Harry's stuff.
Like, everyone, just ignore. I can't think of how I wanted to phrase it.
It just feels like Harry is getting some of Ron's family.
Yeah.
But I'm not so sure Ron's getting any of the Harry glory.
Yeah, for sure. Spread some of that glory around. Spread some of your riches around, Harry. That's all.
Oh, at least
asking.
the riches. Yeah. Well, Ron is getting some of the glory. He did the chess game.
Yeah.
He defeated a mountain troll.
Yeah. But
I mean,
here's
that's
the thing.
something.
Ron didn't get a ton of glory for that. He got 50 points,
right.
and Dumbledore just said, for the best game of chess that Hogwarts has ever seen. And Ron's going, I freaking took part in defeating Voldemort, and you're just saying I have a good chess game? What are you kidding me, Dumbledore?
Yeah,
Come on,
right,
give me a little more glory than that.
He almost died, too.
Yeah,
Right,
honestly.
right.
Come on. Okay, Harry goes and checks out all of the dragons at this moment, too. And do you think that anybody... His invisibility cloak just seems a little bit different, a little bit special, more special than other things. Like, we see that Moody can see through it, but do you think anybody else at the castle has a cloak like this? Do you think maybe Moody has a cloak, an invisibility cloak? Do you think anybody else could have an invisibility cloak? And what do you think of Harry's?
I'm sure that there are more than one. And because if Moody's seen it before, then it's not just Harry that has it. Moody probably has one too, maybe, because he has the time turn. No, he had the larger scale.
The sneakoscope.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So he's got gadgets.
He probably needs them to
Gadgets
defeat
and
the
gizmos
dark
aplenty.
wizards. No,
And his gadgets have a 1 mile radius.
or
Remember they
less
said that in the book?
than.
Yeah. So the thing kept spinning because it has a
Super
1 mile
sensitive.
radius.
Is it literally said that?
Completely unhelpful, which is hilarious.
If he's in the middle of the wilderness with no one else around him at all for a mile, then it works. Then he knows there's someone weird within a mile, but right there, it's not going to work at all.
Goodness. I feel like Ron was very impressed by the invisibility cloak, and the Weasleys in general, it makes it feel like he maybe has not seen one before. So to grow up in the Weasley household and not have seen one, bring your kid to work day at the ministry, it feels like you would have been exposed to a lot of things. Can you even buy these at stores? Diagon Alley, the firebolt is sitting in a window.
Yeah.
But there aren't invisibility cloaks, regardless of how much money. It seems, at least, like that's the case. So I just can't gauge how common they are. Like, maybe people do have them, but you just don't bring them around.
This to me,
I don't know.
It seems like the good version of Borgin and Burke's. Remember when we went in Borgin and Burke's in the second year?
Yep.
And there's
that the scary
all
place?
sorts of there's all sorts of weird artifacts in there. Like the
yeah.
Hand of Glory was in there that gives light only to the one person that's holding it. Like that seems a little dark. You can do weird things with that, but the invisibility cloak has like more purity to it, in my opinion. I feel like there should be a good store, a good version of Borgin and Burke's.
Yep.
And like you're
You're
selling really rare things like an invisibility cloak that like it's way outside everyone's price range, way outside. But this maybe has been passed down in Harry's family, and it just seems
what I was
rare.
trying to see.
Yeah.
How did he? I know he got it from his dad. His dad had it, but
But we don't even know how his dad got it. Or
Yeah.
did he make it? You know, like they made the map.
yeah.
I don't know. But the fact that it's not perfect and someone like Moody with an eye could see through it makes me think it's very useful at a lower level. But once you get to a certain level of wizarding, it maybe doesn't matter as much. Like, I would even think people like Dumbledore or Snape, like, he was sneaking by Snape in the hallway. I can't remember if that was the book or just the movie. Oh, yeah, because Snape and Quirrell were talking and he was nearby. I would think maybe by default Snape couldn't see him. But if Snape knew that someone was there with an invisibility cloak, he could have done something and said,
Yeah.
you know, show me who's here
Yeah.
hiding.
Yeah.
Revelio or something, you know.
Yeah, so I feel like there could have been something, and so an invisibility.
What are you guys making fun of my spells?
I just love that on demand. You know exactly. Yeah, that would be Rebellion.
I'm kind of making it up. It's definitely kind of in the book too.
Oh,
Revelio.
He
you're
has his
making
own, like,
things
Rebellion.
up. All right, chat people, please make
There's-
sure that
there is
these
a
these spells he's saying are correct.
Yeah.
There's
nice.
hilarious. Instead of Borgin and Burke's, Calvin says Billy and Bob's. That'd be such a good PG name for like a good unique item store.
Billion Babs.
But what you were talking about, like, I feel like it's maybe a little more common than we think, possibly
That's a
because
good way to say it.
a lot of people they're somewhat aware, like, who's there, like that there is there is such a thing as an invisibility cloak, because Snape has said it, like he was what's around here, and then Karkaroff, he was asking who's there, but maybe that's not.
Oh,
So
right,
maybe
like
it
when
was
they
too
hit
dark
each other,
out.
yeah.
So now I'm retracting that, but like
No,
he
no,
was
but you're right.
outside.
Well, even when other people have seen it, like, I don't remember if other people have picked it up. No, I'm thinking of the map that Snape picked up when he went into the Shrieking Shack. But it feels like people are wowed by it a little bit, but not in a crazy way. Or maybe I'm just not used to it because Harry isn't taking good care of it. He's
Yeah.
not treating it like it's a one-of-a-kind item.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean?
That's true.
And I'm picturing it as a real cloak. Like, it could rip or tear or get dirty. And then it might lose some of that. And if that's true, then Harry really should be more careful with
Yeah.
it.
'Cause then it'll show some things.
And even just the fact that Harry got it and was trusted with it at such a young age seems to indicate that it's not the most valuable thing, like the only invisibility cloak ever made. Otherwise, I don't think it would have been gifted to him so young.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But it's like the closest like article to his dad
True.
at Hogwarts, so maybe no
Yeah.
matter what, they would have given it to him. Here's a part of your dad.
Yeah.
And it is very creepy that Moody can see through this with his eye.
Yeah.
I want to know how magical his eye is. Like, that is.
I know.
If,
And
if
then
it was
who-
that, gouge my own eye out and get one of those things.
Oh
better.
my goodness.
It's a little extreme.
Yeah, that is a
What
little
kinda-
extreme for sure.
But, like-
eye, you know?
Yeah, the forehead.
Why limit yourself?
Little
Get a
cyclops.
few, a whole crown
Little
of eyes.
triclops. What were you saying, Jen? Do you remember?
It was better than what I was gonna say. No, I was just curious, like who. I wonder if we find out like how his eye was created. Did he create it? Did someone else create it and he gets to use it? Like I don't. I find that interesting. That means yes, we're gonna find out. Trying to
I
pick
say
up anything.
at everything you
I
guys
know,
say,
I
so
know,
don't
I know.
worry.
I'm playing detective.
The school. This frustrates me a lot. The school said this tournament was going to be safe. That no students were going to die. I don't care how many people they have that are on the ready for a spell to defend them. They are getting dragons, and they're not only getting dragons, they are getting nesting mothers.
I know, the most dangerous, probably,
Yes.
right?
It's like
That
a
made me
mother
so
bear.
mad. Yeah.
It made no
and that's
sense.
their first task.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And
And they
like-
they didn't know about it. They're not supposed to know about it. Imagine
Right.
you're at the first task. Literally, you're in this tent and you don't know what's on the other side, and you pull out and it's a dragon, and you have to be ready to
probably
defeat
faint.
yeah. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I don't care what you say. I'm not going to get destroyed by a dragon.
Oh yeah, because the surprise factor would make you blank. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't even be able
Yep.
to think of your
Yep.
spells to use, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how could they protect against that? They clearly didn't do a good enough
Yeah.
job. Harry got scraped, and so what? Like a foot difference? How would they have detected that?
half a Cedric's
know?
face is like burned
Yep.
off right now. Poor guy.
So all of those things, I'm like, where was their line? They're like, well, if his heart stops, then we'll interfere
Yeah,
and try
I
and bring
know.
him back. Like it just felt so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And risking dragon eggs,
Yes.
which are supposedly so valuable, and then some end up getting destroyed.
I know,
Right?
but I'm
Such a
not
waste.
surprised Crumb did that.
Ooh.
He did something like evil and
Oh my!
dangerous, or not dangerous, but like harmful, hurtful. Went around the rules, bent the rules. Not supposed to harm anything, just supposed to
yeah.
get the egg.
And he got points taken off for it.
So I just was like, oh, I'm not surprised that you came from that school and you did what you did, and you wanted to hurt the dragon instead of getting
Yeah.
around it
Yeah.
to get the egg.
Fascinating. I love your guys' takes on
I
this.
still
That is
kinda
so
like
interesting.
Crumb, though.
Why?
I don't even know why, but turning down mulled wine meant something to me, and I have no clue why.
Because he's an alcoholic?
And he's spending time in the library. No, he turned it down.
I know, because he's a recovering
Oh,
alcoholic.
he's recovering. Well, that's fine too. Then full support. Stay strong, Crumb. Like,
Crumb is a recovering alcoholic. That is glorious. That is so funny.
It does feel to me like I haven't seen anything that I don't like out of Crumb. He's on my list of suspects, don't get me wrong. But like, I'm blaming Karkaroff, not Crumb. And all this time in the library could be mischievous in a bad way.
Yeah.
Or he could be genuinely trying to like solve something. Like, maybe there's knowledge in that library, like good magic that they don't teach because they only teach dark magic up at Durmstrang. So now he's like, oh, wow, cool. A chance to actually learn some of this good stuff. I love herbology and I can't learn any of that up there. I'm kind of feeling for him a little bit.
Interesting.
I'm waiting. If he does anything, I'm ready to be like, he's evil too. But as of right now, he just has a rough looking face, and that's fine.
And then he hurt the dragon to get by. But I guess maybe
dragon's
anyone
trying
would
to
do
hurt
that.
accidentally.
And yeah, I took
He
that as
went
an
for
accident.
the eye, so that way the dragon wouldn't see him, and he went to get the egg. So I'm not sure that was an accident.
I'll
What
have
was-
to look again at what he did. He went for the eye.
He threw
He
some.
cast a spell that
on-
hit him directly in the eye.
in
What do you
the
think
eye.
that spell was?
I don't know. You
That makes a
tell
big
me.
difference.
You know all the spells.
If he's blinding a dragon for life, then nah, I'm not into it.
Yeah.
But if he's, just putting a fog up there for a second.
I don't remember any of the spells, so I can't even tell you.
And it's survival at a certain point.
Yeah.
Ugh,
I do.
I go back and forth.
Yeah, Crumb's
Yeah,
interesting.
but everyone else did a distraction, and then Harry flew.
Okay,
But maybe that's all
But-
he knows since they're taught.
That's what I
I
was
mean, this
thinking. too.
is the
Like,
next chapter,
That's
so we're
just
still
his
talking about the next
instinct.
chapter. Let's talk about the
'Cause it's so
distraction
good.
for a second. The distraction, to me, out of everyone who competed, Cedric needs to be investigated. You transfer your
Because-
rock into a Labrador Retriever,
yeah.
and you'll have the Labrador run in the opposite direction so the dragon can go devour this Labrador. I'm like, yeah, it's a transfigured rock for sure. But does this thing have a soul?
That's exactly. That's the question, right?
Because if you're doing that, you are literally sacrificing one being, one creature, so you can compete in this tournament and go free. Whereas, okay, yeah, this is a dragon, but you hit him in the eye with a spell, like a well-timed spell. Like it gives the dragon like some eye infection, and then you can go and get the egg.
Yeah, and then she stepped on all her eggs, all her
I know,
babies.
it's true for sure. But maybe he didn't mean it. But to me, Cedric sending off this, like, I have a dog and he's just laying right by you, so
That's
maybe
why
I'm just
you're
more
hooked
sensitive
on
to
that.
this. I couldn't imagine transfiguring a rock into a dog and letting this.
Yeah, but maybe he just transformed it back to a rock before he
Yeah, that's
devoured
true.
it.
Would
And then
Cedric-
there you go.
Well, that's what I don't fully understand about things that are being transfigured because
Yeah.
I mean, rats can be teacups and like even the chocolate
I still
frogs
don't get-
can act like real frogs, but they're not real frogs.
Yeah.
And the magic runs out. So I feel like we've seen that a few times where the trinkets at the World Cup, they run out of magic. And the frogs run out of magic. So would this
Yeah.
dog rock turn back into a rock after like 30 seconds? Was it just like a brief like
I hope so.
Yeah,
That's what I was
I have to
picturing.
assume because I like Cedric. I hope he's. Well, that'd be awesome. Actually, you could just create a dog. Man,
Yeah.
dog care would be so much easier.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Transfigure that rock into a dog. Poops, make it go away. You know, you probably do a little spell, shave the dog, easy peasy. You don't need a groomer. You don't need a pooper scooper.
That's
Wow,
what
nice.
Cedric went first, right?
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
Crumb just took the dog poop, and I think so. Yeah. If I don't end the live stream on YouTube, I think it should be okay.
That's cool.
I'm hoping. We'll see if it comes up in a second.
Oh, because your laptop was still working this whole time.
Yeah, I think we're back. Yeah, my so even if this isn't working, it's on YouTube's end, so YouTube will still, unless I click end stream. Nice. Okay,
Oh, that's
we're good
cool.
now. Sorry, everyone. We just had a power outage, unfortunately. And the crappy thing is, it knocked out the original recording that we had of this. So I'm just gonna pull that later from not that everyone needs to know this. Just walking to run through my
It
process.
can't
right
be
now.
Well,
on
that's
your
the joy of the
laptop
live
either,
stream.
huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Getting the inside scoop
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
Okay, yeah, we just had a
outages.
little power block. It was weird, and I hadn't experienced that before. But we're back. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Do you guys remember?
We
My
were
brain,
talking
like,
about
shut off with the power.
transfiguration.
I know,
What
yeah.
happened?
And
Uh,
rocks.
And the rock turning into
and
the
dogs,
dog, and then
Yeah.
do they have a
and how easy
soul?
it was
So-
to
And
groom a dog and
For the dog, for all that kind of stuff, let's save that for in a little bit because we'll get to that. Because
Nice,
that's the
yeah.
next chapter too. I have a few more questions for 19 that I want to talk about.
hmm.
And just on a personal question, on a personal note, do you guys think you would be more happy or more stressed that you saw the dragons before the task? Like, would you be glad to have that time to
Yeah.
prepare?
I would be
Or
glad.
Probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the same,
I like
especially with
knowing.
dragons.
Yeah.
Especially with dragons.
It would be stressful. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
like worth it. The more information, the better.
Right. 'cause
You're
then
gonna
you
be
can, like, come
stressed
to
no matter
terms
what.
with it.
Yeah, like you gotta face this. There's no avoiding it. So
Mhm.
you might as well learn the info ahead of time.
Yeah. I always need a little prep work.
Because what would
Yeah.
he have done if he did not plan ahead?
Yeah.
He would have just died.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Right.
There we go.
Patronus, go
Immediate-
fight the thing. You know, like what's?
I did think about that.
I don't know if
Can
that's
you
how it
have
works.
your
so maybe.
Patronus?
He could have maybe come up with something, but I don't know what. Could he have used his invisibility cloak? Or
Yeah,
would that be against the rules?
Oh.
Did they say that? Because he could have at least brought it. That would have been kind of funny. Then he just gets over to the, footprints in the sand or something. But then he grabs the egg.
He would have had
goes
summon
away,
it,
whips
no?
off. Well,
would've-
he couldn't bring it in his pocket. Like they're all wearing their robes, carrying
Yeah.
their wands. But is that a rule? Like
I feel
that's
like
all
that's
you can bring?
cheating even more. I thought you were against cheating.
I don't think it's cheating. That's what I'm asking. Like if there's a rule, then it's cheating. If there's no rule, then Harry should have that.
Do
on
they?
him.
They never went over any rules, did they?
No.
What were
The
the
only
rules?
rules we've heard about this whole thing is Harry's not allowed to enter because he's too young.
And
here
then
we
there's
are.
a contract, and you have to finish.
yeah,
Yeah,
then there's a
so-
magical contract,
And
that
that
you
is
have
it.
to do this.
So what are the rules? You
And
can only
even-
have your wand. That's one rule.
Yeah,
But he's
Right.
allowed to summon. Like if he can summon that, he can summon anything.
But why
right?
isn't everyone?
but what else would
summoning
you summon
things?
to
Just
defeat?
the only thing I can think is the invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you
But,
just
like-
summon the egg toward you?
And yeah, right. But I was like, can you
Oh.
only summon things?
Why
you
not?
touched
Why wouldn't they have
before
done
or
that?
Held
Yeah.
or like
Maybe Sirius would have said that.
Oh, maybe.
Do you think that there are some things that you can't summon?
I would say the eggs might be resistant to it because they're dragon eggs.
That it's a
But-
gold egg that wasn't a dragon egg. That was
Oh,
in
good point.
the dragon eggs.
Do you think there's like an anti-summoning spell?
Well, maybe for this championship thing.
And even on that, do you think like the cloak idea is an interesting one. I actually had one of my questions was, and what other way would you try to defeat this dragon? And the cloak is one of those that people think about all the time, but maybe there's a point where you
I like
cannot summon
yours.
an object that is really rare. This is why maybe Harry's cloak is rare, Because if it was just any old cloak, maybe you can summon it. But why didn't Harry think of summoning his invisibility
It's one of the
cloak?
only things he had.
Yeah.
Harry
But-
didn't think of anything because he didn't even think
Yeah.
on his own to summon the firebolt.
I know, yeah. But then, like,
But
Moody saw him in the invisibility cloak when he was in the
Is that
three
before or
broomsticks.
after?
Before. Remember, Hermione was like talking in Hogsmeade with him,
Yep.
and then Hagrid and Moody came over, and Moody goes, "Nice cloak, Potter." Moody, maybe at that moment, rather than say you're a good flyer, been like, "Dude, you have an invisibility cloak.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Go summon this thing, throw it on." But if I'm Harry, I don't want everyone to see this
So
either.
true.
So there's a
Everyone
point to
would
it where,
know.
like,
Yeah.
like
And maybe
if
Moody
everyone
was
in school
thinking
knows
that
I have an
too, like,
invisibility cloak.
That's probably
Not
good
even
for
should
him
know
to
about
protect
that.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I was thinking, isn't this championship to get points for your skills? So like, putting on a cloak and walking to
Oh,
get the egg
Yeah.
is not really a
Yeah.
skill.
That's a
Seriously.
good point.
Yeah.
Although it seems like Harry's in survival mode.
Mm.
Maybe he doesn't even care about points. But it'd be nice to win.
Mm.
Get that money.
Yeah, for real.
Right.
1,000
Since you're
galleon
in it.
prize.
Yeah, well, if you're trying to survive, you might as well thrive.
Now you're competitive, huh?
Nice little saying there.
I also thought I can get a little more behind Hermione's house elf thing, where she said she wants decent wages and working conditions. And I like that they were trying to get to the kitchens because that's what we were talking about a few weeks ago. It's like, yeah, just go and talk to them. But I feel like wages and working conditions, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
She's not trying to set them free or make them like live off in the woods. If they want to do that, they can. That's something I can get behind. Give me that
Yeah.
badge. I'll join.
Yeah, for sure.
Spew.
I'm okay with that one. Do you guys have any other ideas when you see the idea of the dragons and you have to get past the dragon? You don't have to necessarily fight the dragon, but as far as your magical knowledge is concerned, like we talked about the cockatrice, how would you actually get past this dragon? And did you knew they were gonna fight a dragon, right? You've seen the movie, Jen?
No.
You haven't?
No.
You haven't seen this one?
No.
Because your suggestion with the cockatrice is fly get the firebolt and fly on a broomstick.
Wait, what?
To defeat the
Yeah.
cockatrice,
Yeah.
John asked us in
Like, what would
Last
you do?
episodes
podcast.
ago.
Remember that
Last
cockatrice is a
episode?
rooster dragon?
Oh, I
you
was
were
like,
like-
I keep hearing Kakarot when you're saying that, so I was like, I don't know what you're
That's the next task. The next task you have to get past Karkaroff with his little goatee, that little thing.
Wait,
in
I
it.
said that? Look at me. I'm just directly
know.
in line.
It was funny because you said that and people were commenting on the thing. They were like, does Jen know this
No.
story? And I was like, I think she's seen this movie because
No.
it was dead on.
Look
And
at
I was
that.
like, what the heck?
No, I honestly have never seen this movie, so that's why I'm excited to see it because
crazy
I've
to
never
me.
seen it, and I don't know what happens at all in this book. So, yeah.
Did you know that he was going to fight a dragon?
Mm.
Man.
No, but because of Charlie, when we
Yeah,
were
yeah, yeah.
discussing that, Charlie's gonna be seen again, then I was like, oh, I'm sure there's gonna be a dragon.
And there's a dragon
Yeah.
on the cover.
No, there isn't.
There's a dragon on
is
my
that
cover.
not the cover?
Yeah, on my
right,
other
right there. Look,
edition
turn it
there.
over.
This?
I haven't even looked. Yeah, right there. And now to flip it over.
Oh, on the back.
That's not a dragon.
That's not
like
the wing of a dragon.
No, that looks like some insect with wings. That's what I thought it was.
All right. Well, I'm only
that was
seeing
like
it
a
from here.
dragon.
I haven't looked at my own cover. From here, it looks like a dragon. I want to see.
Oh my gosh. And then once you say dragon, it could look like a mouth of a dragon.
There's a dragon
But
on the Jim K cover. and the Jim K
honestly-
cover, he's fighting a dragon. And I put that right here during one of the live streams. And I realized that halfway through. And I'm like, oh, crap. I was like, I hope Danny
I
and Jen
didn't
don't look at this. But I don't know if you
notice
guys
Well, I wanted
noticed
to
it.
bring my new edition. You know, my pretty ones.
Yeah.
Dragon on that.
got a
I was
dragon on
like,
the cover.
Wow. And that's why I think
They'll
even
bring
the
it at the
art
end.
at the beginning of the chapters, it's like all of this stuff is for the people who have
Yes.
read it, seen the
Yeah.
movies, and want like another version. So I totally get it.
This is not for the first time reader.
Yeah.
For sure.
No,
but it's
I
good
didn't-
for
I
investigative
didn't-
Jen over here.
Oh gosh. I didn't think this was a dragon at all. I thought it was like a plant with, I don't know. What are those
Wing
like?
was from
Yeah.
an insect.
Yeah.
It
It's a
looks
pretty big insect.
no, but look at right next to it. How is that a dragon? Pass it around.
What's next to it?
All right. I'll embrace it. Let me see
like-
what else we got.
That was
It
just so
honestly-
funny to me.
Goblet,
that you
blue
said
fire.
that you would get past
That
the
does look
cockatrice
like a
with
little insecty looking
broom.
thing. We got some
Riding a
weird
broom.
eyes.
I was like,
No, that looks like a
What?
bird.
Oh, there we go.
Antenna. I don't know what it is.
Wait,
It doesn't
I wanna
look
see.
like a dragon. That's all I can say.
And,
So no, I didn't know there was a dragon coming up.
Oh yeah, we do.
I'm very in tune with Harry, I guess. I don't know.
How else would you guys get
Harry's
past the
literally
dragon?
holding the egg. In
Yeah, I know.
the-
I know.
oh,
Yeah, and like the full,
Oh yeah,
full
what's
cover.
that thing behind the
But
window?
honestly, you don't know when you're looking at it what it is until
Yeah.
after you read it, and they're like,
Agreed.
"Oh,
Which is fair
it's
enough.
that."
Yeah.
That's like a separate entity, right?
Yeah.
So to
behind
me,
it, yeah.
but to me, it looks like an insect with its wing covering its face.
Oh, okay.
So I
So
I
is that
thought it
another
was like
task, if you
a,
have a dragon / ant.
Insect dragon.
and then it looks like an insect or like a plant or like some kind of entity, not a dragon here on the mouth.
Yeah, for sure.
And I didn't know that that was an egg. Still, I thought it was
Yeah.
a goblet of fire, some kind of fire
okay.
thing.
I didn't think the goblet would be so small.
Where's the goblet?
On the front, isn't that with
Oh,
the
in the
blue
back.
flames? No, on the front.
No, this
Oh,
is
is
the
that-
back.
yeah, I'm like, is that the goblet? Is that someone's hand around it? It looks like the thing.
No, the front. No, this is
Oh,
not the
God.
front. Yes.
So yeah, it's so tiny. I think I pictured it like the Stanley Cup, like
Yeah,
like
yeah, it's a
human
massive
sized,
thing. Yeah,
gigantic,
You
like.
guys make me so happy with your hockey reference.
We mentioned the Stanley Cup a few times for this one.
Yeah, but then a lot of magic skills would have to go in a big cup. Like
I guess
maybe
yeah.
you don't need, for high magic. I don't know what I'm trying
And maybe
to
it
say.
had to be carved out of
Even
something
smaller.
magical, like a magic material, so smaller is better, easier.
Yeah.
But not a lot of names would fit in that. That's what I was thinking.
But that just dissolves, doesn't it?
I guess. I don't know. I don't know how it works. But like, I'm picturing if each of the people we know submitted the names, assuming Durmstrang all did, and Beauxbatons all put their names
that
in.
would
That's
make
like 24 names right there, and then plus a bunch. That's a lot of crumpled paper in a tiny little thing.
The only thing, okay, so if we're going on that
Yeah, that's
theory, then
magic.
we asked Harry to write his
Right.
name out and the school, and then they would see it doesn't match his handwriting.
Yeah, but anyone could use
Yeah.
a quill that writes for you.
Quick quotes, Quill.
And then like Harry could have used it and whatever. Don't get me wrong, I agree. They should have done some more investigation on
All right,
that.
next topic.
Or
I'm
could
over
you
it.
imagine? Could you imagine if they pull Harry's name out and they unfold the piece of paper and it's like magazine letters, like the serial
Yeah,
killer
like
thing? It's like
kidnapped
kidnapped
letters, just like
Harry Potter,
glued on there.
Hogwarts, and it's just like they super glued everything on there.
Oh,
Or you
goodness.
could just like write with your left hand if you're trying to really disguise your handwriting.
Mm.
I guess in my mind, they put their name in it, dissolved, and only the correct,
Yeah.
the chosen people came up
Hmm.
That
on
makes
parchment.
sense.
But I didn't even think it was their handwriting. I don't know why, even though that's how they submitted it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Madame Maxime actually has a crush, or if she is manipulating Hagrid
Using
only.
Hagrid?
Huh.
Oh.
I like to think it's real,
That would be nice.
even though a part of her might want to cheat and get the inside scoop, and might have been using Hagrid for that. She was fluttering her long black eyelashes. There is hope here.
Because, well, I mean,
You got. Well, she's laughing.
wondering, like, what other people are her size?
Yeah,
It's a small pool.
Like,
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
France. I don't know. They're usually like this big. So
She's
Hagrid
in the wrong
is,
country.
Oh man.
Yep.
And I have to admit, this entire time I've been reading her name as Maxine.
Maxine.
And in my head, I was making fun of you when you said Maxine last week. I was like,
Oh, you don't even know how to read.
and then I was reading and I was like, oh,
You're like, crap, he was right.
well.
I wouldn't know.
Usually I'm on the wrong side of that because when you listen to it, you hear it said like the right way.
Yeah.
And then I'll
Right.
hear you say something and I'm like, oh, yes. Or when we listened to that chapter last week and I was like, okay, yep, I'm getting it.
There's a funny note in this. No one up until this point, because the audiobooks weren't really made yet, knew how to say Hermione's name.
Yep.
gosh.
So later on in this book, she essentially spells out how to say her name to someone.
Wow.
Oh,
And it's
really?
really funny. So we'll get there when we get there. But it's like people are like, JK only did that because she wanted people to know how to say Hermione the right way.
I love that.
Did you read it correctly from the get go?
I guess I was like Hermione. Hermione. Yeah, Hermione. That was probably like the first one that I was doing. But when I initially read it, it was probably the fifth book had just come out. So I started reading when the fifth book came out. So I already knew how to say it.
Oh.
So it wasn't like I started from the inception of
I
Harry Potter.
remembered.
I still remember
Yeah.
the inception of Harry Potter, like going
Yeah.
to soccer practice, and one of not this Dan, but another Dan that was on my soccer team was like, "You got to read the Harry Potter series. It's like so good." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna read it."
I'm too
and,
cool.
Oh,
too
boy.
cool for that.
I'm
He's like,
athlete.
wow. He's like,
See
it's a great
now.
series. Like, it's so good. So I still remember experiencing that when I was like in fourth grade or something like that, and the books had just come out. But after that, all the books had come out, and I started my journey when she had just published the 5th book. And so I read the first one, caught up with the 5th one, then she had just published the 6th one. So then I got caught up and read the 6th one, and I had to wait agonizingly long for the 7th. Oh.
I can't imagine because I can't wait a couple days.
Yeah.
And this is like a year, right?
Yeah. How we still haven't answered this one. How would you guys get past the dragon
Oh,
with
yeah,
all the
yeah.
magic that you know?
If I had time to research like Harry did, that would have helped. I would have talked to Fred and George, because one of the first things I
Ooh.
thought of was they've got a way with magic. They're good, so I would have consulted people. It's the only way. But I'm fascinated by the candy. So they've got candy to make things large. I'm like, good.
Ooh.
I want them to develop something that I could feed to the dragon. So there was something, not lemon
But
drops, some candy.
you can bring something.
Make it
Well,
small.
again, we don't know
Yes,
the
you
rules,
can
but I think
summon
so.
everything, yeah.
Either we
Shrink
can summon
the
it or
dragon.
keep it in your
Shrink the
pocket.
dragon into like a pocket-sized
shrink
dragon.
it?
Right? And then there's the age thing. Like, there are a lot of things you can consume that change things. So you get a dragon-sized clump of candy that, throw at the dragon or whatever. Hope he eats it. I don't know how you could do all that, but we saw that there's the
Interesting.
one candy that levitates people,
Yeah.
and the candy that makes you sound like other animals, and then there's the candy that humans eat and makes their limbs gigantic. So I would just ask the Weasleys to develop a dragon candy for the occasion. And honestly, I'd want a whole tool belt of those candies for
Yeah.
various situations. Even the levitating one. Like, I'm like, I don't know what's going to come up, but if you don't have your firebolt and you want to be able to like levitate a little bit,
Yeah.
however that might help you, keep some of those around.
The Weasleys could have been great in this tournament. Oh my goodness.
Because they would think so creatively,
Yeah,
and they wanted to compete. So
Yep.
Harry can go to them, help them feel included, and say, look, I'm not worthy to be here, but you guys genuinely are. I got an inside scoop. Help me out.
And Harry's like, look, I already have a fortune. I'll give you my money if you keep me alive.
Yeah, seriously, exactly. Like, he should be assembling his team right now.
Yeah.
And so that's why it feels like he was keeping it all a secret, which is fine. And he's got Moody,
Yeah.
and that helps. But if I were in his shoes, I'd assemble my squad.
Yeah, for real.
Let's put our heads together, people.
That'd make the tournament a little bit more entertaining too. Like, I love the idea of one wizard fighting, but if you have like a little team of people and they're all helping this one person out, then you're getting more creative spells. You're getting like more interesting work done, I think. Because there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's probably more than one way to get past a dragon.
But
And
it's supposed to be a tri-wizard tournament, so it's supposed to be
quad
your
wizard.
Quad.
yeah.
Sorry.
Whatever. I
Yeah.
lost my train of thought. Thank you.
No,
very
you were
much.
gonna say it is supposed to be your own work doing that, which I love. I think that's like really the
Yeah.
heart of the
I love
tournament.
but that's because you guys are Hufflepuffs, so that's why you're thinking that way.
Yeah, we're teamwork
True.
people.
So true. You're right.
Yeah.
It's really showing right now.
Right.
But do we know any spells? Like, what would you do if you had
I don't know any spells.
No, not actually. Like, you don't even know the names, but like things. Like, Harry knows some curses. Can you curse a dragon? You know what I mean? Like, do we know anything that could actually fight a dragon?
Repario.
Yeah.
One
So
that
the
came to
eggs
mind.
that Crumb broke. Reparo.
Ooh, nice.
Or I said it wrong.
It's all right. It's all right.
No, you can't mispronounce it. It won't
I'm a
work.
nerd. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's gonna take a lot of practice.
I'll be in big trouble.
Jen's constantly gonna be like, Repario. Oh, did I like pronounce that
I'm
right?
Neville.
I don't
That's
know.
why.
And meanwhile, the dragon is going eating you.
And you wouldn't say me thanks.
Man.
That's the only one I could think of. What else is there? Oh, the little fire that comes out of your wand. We've seen that one. I don't know. What's the name of that one?
The fire one.
Fire?
Yeah, or the light. Oh, no.
Lumos.
Oh yeah.
Lumos. So not fire. It's close.
Just give him a little light.
Over here.
Yeah.
So wait, is he like
know.
summoning the egg not
I don't know.
Let's
that
rule
seems
that off.
decent,
I
but
like that
assuming
one,
that
though.
wouldn't
Yeah,
work.
because there has to be some kind of
that.
spell that you can do that you can stop someone from summoning something. And I'm sure like you probably have this all, like if I'm in Gringotts and I just say, summon all the gold in here. Even though it's
so true.
Yeah. Just that's easiest bank robberies ever. Actually, gold.
Why can't you use that in the tournament though?
Because it's a gold egg. I feel like it's too
Ooh,
easy.
maybe all gold. Interesting.
Yeah.
Certain metals.
But it
or
opens, so
maybe.
it's not
elements
fully gold.
resistant.
yeah, for sure.
So
And I do think that maybe it's just too easy. So I like where your mind's going because you're like, this is just simple. Just summon it. But I feel like there has to be,
It's too
like
easy.
Dumbledore thought of it. He's like, we can't just make it this easy for him. We got to put dragons in here. Not only dragons, nesting mothers. So we can't just make them summon it automatically. They're making it
And
really tough.
even
I
with
really want them to die.
Yeah, seriously.
yeah, definitely. Even with Ginny in book 2, couldn't summon her diary from the house. So I'm just wondering, certain things just can't be summoned, and I don't know what distinguishes that yet. But
maybe it
and
has
same
its
with-
own magic. Like maybe there's magic in its
maybe
own.
yeah, like
But then
certain
the
things-
fire. Oh, I guess.
firebolt. Yeah, you're right.
But it's technically not like, is it? I guess
would
it
think
does,
so.
though.
Yeah.
Because it flies.
I guess, yeah. And even because don't all brooms have cushioning charms now? So they've all been like they've gotten work done on them. So they're full of magic in a lot of ways at this point.
I had an idea.
And they can't apparate either because it's within Hogwarts at this
Yep.
point.
Oh, you can't apparate to get the egg and come back.
I'm assuming that it's
in
within this
Hogwarts
Hogwarts
grounds,
grounds, that you can't apparate here.
Well, I was thinking they're in a tent, right? So can't you just pull the tent cover off of it, put it on the dragon, have it all
Ooh.
tangled up,
That's a good
grab
one.
the egg, and bounce?
I think
That's
that's the best I've heard.
creative.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's like easy second year spell.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big object, but still,
Yeah, but
that I think would do it.
What is that spell to make it levitate, Jen? Come on. Think. First year we learned this one.
Oh, nice.
it's quizzing me.
Oh no.
Everyone just swish and flick.
Not me.
Livia, so.
Wingardium.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Ah, boom.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah,
To the tent.
it goes in and out. Can't. I struggle with English words. I'm not gonna be with like wizarding words.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't hear what I said.
You're
Did
not
you?
good with wizarding words.
Yep.
Come on.
Sure. You didn't hear the first part. Oh, good.
Okay, they get in a conversation. Harry now gets in a conversation with Sirius, and they talk about a few things I want to talk about with you guys. So one of the first things is, what do you think about the info that Sirius gave about Crockpot, aka Karkaroff?
Pretty
What do I
fascinating.
think about the information
Yeah.
Sirius gave about him?
So he was a Death Eater.
Mm-hmm.
He was an actor. Like the line, "We know he's a good actor," said Sirius, because he convinced the Ministry of Magic to set him free, didn't he? And meanwhile, Jen's reading this, cracking her fingers. Darn right, I guess that perfectly. I am so good. And he was a Death Eater. He went to Azkaban. He seems like a pretty dark wizard.
I also said like Crockpot and Crumb were at the Quidditch World Cup.
Yes.
Just putting it out there again. So what was your question?
What do you just think of Karkaroff, Crackpot?
I still don't like him, but I'm not ready to throw the book at him. I feel like if there's any place that could make you turn good, it would probably be Azkaban. Good time.
Yeah, Azkaban.
5-year-olds.
Yeah, classic. But I'm gonna say, okay, it'll take a minute. Yep.
You guys all right? We got a stomach growlings over here. And we have our 5-year-olds
Yeah,
like
good
cracking up at that.
Oh goodness, just the
Like,
timing.
great.
I like paused,
Yeah.
growl, continue,
It was like a roll.
and the mics will never pick it up, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
But,
Tried not to.
he could have been a bad person, and now he's a good person.
Azkaban
Do I
sets you
believe it?
straight.
Probably not, but it is possible.
Like a redemption story of how he became.
He's been rehabilitated, his time there. But also weird that another person has gone in and out of Azkaban. At first, we thought nobody comes out of this place. You're going there to die, life sentence only. And now we know 3 people have gone and left. One breakout. Hagrid was, sent there unjustly, and you can negotiate your way out. So there are lots of ways out of Azkaban.
But how can you negotiate when only, like, who's in charge? The Ministry of Magic's in charge of Azkaban.
Mm-hmm.
And the Dementors are the security. So
Yep.
they can talk to people? They're given time to talk to people?
Yeah.
The prisoners?
And we know, what's his name? The Ministry of Magic, the head guy, Fudge. He went in to talk to Sirius because that's how he saw the newspaper too. Mm-hmm. So like you can even visit people there. So it's not quite as insane as like the original thoughts are. Now we're getting more of a classic jail like in Muggle world where people are there, but you can also go and visit, and you can maybe even have a retrial with the Ministry and negotiate things, early release for good behavior. Or he didn't want to give people up. Little time there. All of a sudden, he's like, you know what? I will give these people up. And in a weird way, doesn't that make him more good? Because now the evil people will hate him because he gave up some of them.
Unless... but evil is evil, right? They're always going to throw each other under the bus, I feel like. Is there really like a...
no honor amongst thieves. Interesting.
Yeah.
Could be true.
So, Danny, you're saying that because he's out of Azkaban now, those people that he was working with, maybe he ratted them out, and those people hate him even more now.
Well, yeah, like all those people who hate Moody because he threw them in Azkaban, now there's a group of people. I forget if it said a number. In my head, I was thinking, like,
is one of them that Moody put into Azkaban.
Yeah, but now like a number of people Karkaroff threw in Azkaban. It was his testimony that got them thrown in. So he made enemies.
Could they be real, or could they have been good people that thrown in?
Yeah, it could have been a lot of things, and we don't know. And that's why I'm not quite ready to write him off as evil, even though it seems like it, and I don't like him right now. But I feel like there's still a chance he could be good.
I don't know.
There is the one thing, and someone mentioned this online too, that Karkaroff is teaching dark magic still.
Yeah.
Right.
At Durmstrang. If he was at Beauxbaton and he wasn't teaching it, or maybe he was performing the education at Durmstrang, maybe you'd be more likely to believe him. But
Or
he
the
still has that about him.
defense of the dark arts.
Yeah.
Like then he would be.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to get a job, He doesn't pass the background
He's an
checks
ex-con.
anymore.
Yeah.
But they hired him right away.
If any school would, he had some connections over there.
That's
it
what
was
I'm
the
saying,
only
though.
person who didn't want to kill him, his friend that he went to Durmstrang's with back in his day,
I love when you play devil's advocate.
I don't.
I'm just thinking, also, why would he be allowed to teach at all? Shouldn't there be probation? Like, you get out and he can just go
No, because
influence
that's
the
like
young
the
minds?
best teacher for that school. Oh, someone
that
that
school,
went.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the Ministry of Magic, I can't believe they let him get away with that. Like, we're going to release you from Azkaban.
And you're going to teach.
And you can do whatever you want. Or maybe they gave him rules and this was just the only thing he could get. But
Go work with children.
yeah, exactly.
And
Like,
teach
why
them
would
your
that
ways.
be allowed? It's like he should be on the registry of like former Death Eaters, and he should not be allowed to go around kids now.
Like
But
pedophile.
Everything
gonna
is in
say
the
that,
registry.
But-
Everything you're saying about
We all are thinking it.
Karkaroff is the same thing that Hogwarts has with Hagrid, but it's just we confirm that we know more about Hagrid, so we trust him. But what if the Durmstrang students know more about Karkaroff and they trust him? So to your theory, also on that, maybe he really is good. We just don't get a lot of time with him. But in this instance, maybe the time that we do get with him is just skewed. He seems like a shady guy. Maybe he's just passionate about Victor Crumb winning, and that's really his backstory. And he's going for that no matter how he can. So he really loves the students. Maybe he's really changed and loves the students.
He doesn't treat the other students well.
Yeah.
He only
That's
treats
true. He
Crumb
has
well.
been pretty rude.
Yeah. But does Hagrid treat
Yes.
Malfoy well?
Does
But
Moody
Malfoy
treat him well?
deserves it. This other kid was not just like there.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
Karkaroff is like, go. Or I forget what he did.
You don't know? Maybe there's a backstory between the two.
All right,
that
guys.
Jen's
Maybe
like,
there's a
"Move on.
backstory
Next question." So Sirius mentions also that there was an intruder. He talks about the intruder who tried to stop Moody. Do you, what do you think of that whole story? I mean, I remember you mentioned it a while ago as something to think of.
Yeah.
Do you know who it could possibly be, or if it really was just Moody being really neurotic and paranoid about pots and pans crashing in his house or something?
I think it has to be somebody. Only because I had that theory, and now it's being confirmed. Not confirmed, but another person serious that we trust is throwing it out there. But it can't be someone good at what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's why the first person came to mind was Wormtail. Mm-hmm. He could have even been in rat form.
Wait, could we say again what happened before Moody came? There was an incident. What exactly happened again?
The night before he was going to come to Hogwarts, there was an intruder at his house. Mm-hmm. Remember, this is when Mr. Amos Diggory's head popped into the fireplace. And he's like, there's been an incident with Madame Moody. Okay. Can you go get him off? Because if it went into the hands of other Ministry of Magic officials, it would have been messed up.
And because it had to do with his department even a little, because it was bins that had something on them to make them attack. So these bins attacked somebody. But the regular police were called, so Muggles were involved.
Yeah.
And that's why it was a whole thing. But that's why I'm like, this was not a smart thief falling for attacking bins. Maybe I just don't think of garbage cans as being that threatening. So it seems to me like it would have to be someone either like a kid or like someone who I don't view as good at magic.
Or
like
it could be, what's her name? The elf, the house elf. That was
Winky.
Yeah.
Could it have been Winky?
Yeah.
Could have been.
There's a pretty real possibility of that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So do you think that Crouch would be behind it?
Maybe.
Well, he's like, I'm going to go interrogate my own elf. And then he's like, you know what? No.
Maybe
go to
Crouch, Kakarov, and Rita Skeeter are all in together.
A bin for each of them. They're like all trapped inside one of the garbage bins now. Oh, it's so funny.
I mean,
I like what Sirius is saying, though. I think that theory is pretty, like, trying to get him not to go to Hogwarts or...
Mm-hmm.
I forget what your question was.
No, it's like essentially who did it.
Oh,
but I think that's another interesting point, too. Sirius is definitely right. Like, this person definitely doesn't want Moody at the school. So out of everyone who doesn't, we know who's in the book right now, does anybody truly, like, not want Moody at the school? And do you think those people...
Well, we think it could be Kakarov from what Sirius is saying. Doesn't want him there. Could be Crumb.
Snape's like, I'm going to knock out this teacher who took my job. He's like, I don't care about him that much. I have nothing but just spite.
They've got some weird energy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something deeper going on there.
Yeah, that is definitely true.
But I feel like whoever did the Dark Mark is probably the same person. But we still don't really know who that is. So we're still left guessing. Could it be anyone else?
I'm like, is it going to be such a curveball? Like, it's someone that we would never have thought of. Or is it going to be one of these people that we had an inkling about?
Did you ever watch 24, the series 24, when you were growing up?
Only a couple here.
Do you remember the first season?
Mm-mm.
I don't think I watched the first season.
Yeah, my dad loved
Did they do that?
They did that. Like one of the characters that you
quick spoiler alert if anyone's gonna watch it.
Oh, sure, that's like 20 years old. I still remember
that
Nina. It was like Jack's right hand person, and then she was the one that betrayed him. Not saying that was gonna happen in the book, obviously, but I just remember that because you were saying like maybe it's someone who we don't expect, and that was a show that you'd never expected it. But it could be maybe it's someone you really never expected. Maybe it could be like Dumbledore planning this whole thing, or that would be wild. But
Hagrid.
Oh man,
that would be. So
you needed some big trash bins.
But he wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Maybe Madame Maxine.
That's what I was thinking. Or Fleur, since you were hating on her last time.
Was hating on Fleur?
There's just...
Probably was.
Yeah.
Were you forget about that whole conversation?
Yeah.
Walked it out.
When I'm playing Devil's Advocate, it's not even me. I'm playing a character, guys.
I don't think that was Devil's Advocate. You were sold on Fleur. The two of you were like...
She's Vila. What do you expect?
Wait. Sold on Floor like in a good way?
I
thought you were the Floor fan.
I'm sold on Floor in a good way. And you like Floor because you like the French people.
I do like
that was such a funny part of the last podcast where you go, I just like them because they're cool and sexy.
It's
And
true.
you like Crumb. You don't like Flo that much. You like
I like Crumb. Yep.
because he's warm and kind of cozy. He's a,
I like. I
Crumb's
don't
a
like
nice
Crumb.
guy.
Yeah, I like Crumb. He seems cool.
He's in the library. He's studying. He doesn't care about all this like fame.
That's
So
what he
true.
wants you to think.
Hmm.
He
So
does.
again, I think in this book there are a lot of new characters introduced. This is why it's fun because she's really expanding the world in this book. But all these characters are overwhelming because you don't know who to trust.
Yeah.
But we have come up with our list of who we trust.
Yep.
Which is Dumbledore, Hagrid, Moody, Ron, Hermione. Is there anybody else?
Sirius.
McGonagall.
And
The
Sirius.
Weasleys.
Sirius, the Weasleys, McGonagall.
And not all the Weasleys, Mr. and Mrs. at least, and Ron.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Fred and George.
It could be
Charlie and
Percy.
Bill, I don't know. Percy, he could go evil,
Yeah.
and I would not even be surprised.
Oh, Percy was that's the worst.
Because let's face it, if Crouch is evil, then I feel like Percy would get roped into that so fast.
But maybe
Yes.
Percy would find out about it first and then
he
relay
might
it
do
back
the right
to the
thing.
family.
Mm,
I would
or
hope
he
so.
goes off the deep end.
Percy.
Yeah. If
can
he
see
finds
him-
out that things are getting a little,
No, but he
And-
likes to follow the rules. How could he go
No, but
turn?
he wouldn't think of it as being evil, like bad. He would think of himself as being the good guy because he doesn't mind doing the wrong, the right thing when nobody else wants to. Because he's a hall monitor, he's a prefect. He's just like willing to make enemies to do the right thing. So if he thinks he's doing the right thing, but it goes against all of his family, I think he'd still do it.
Yeah, I mean, he was even trash talking his dad already.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be too surprised.
So that's why I'm not saying he'd be evil, like out killing people, but I think he would be willing to do much more than we think if he thinks it's the right thing to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think he could be brainwashed, is what I'm
I
trying to
agree-
say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Wow. That would be devastating, though.
Yeah, that'd
one
be
of
rough.
the Weasleys kind of leaving the family over what they think.
I didn't
Went
expect it
on
to
a
go here. We're just
whole-
trying to list of
Wow.
people we trust.
Oh my gosh.
Hard left.
Got
Surprised
heavy.
himself.
That was intense.
Don't worry, you'll forget it in a few seconds.
It's not headcanon or anything.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it
yeah.
your alter ego?
Yeah, I'm back.
Comes out.
I love that Harry was spilling his guts to Sirius in a way
Yeah.
that I feel like we don't see very often.
Yes.
Like
That's what we've been wanting.
he
him
was
to
like,
do.
Yep.
and then he just said it all. And I was like, oh, this is so healthy.
Finally.
Finally. He needs this.
Yeah.
And this has to be like a constant thing now. This is his therapy.
It
So,
was so nice. I love
proud
Sirius
of
head
Harry.
in the fire.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
tell me.
Yep. And there's even this line. It's tough at the end. Like he unloads everything, and then Sirius goes, "Right, these dragons." Says Sirius speaking very quickly. "There's a way, Harry. You can do it alone. There's a way. A simple spell is all you need. Just." But Harry held up a hand to silence him. His heart suddenly pounding as though it would burst. He could hear footsteps coming on the spiral staircase behind him, and he waves him to go. What was the thing that Sirius was going to tell him to do?
a simple spell. Could it have been the
Lombardio
same thing? we
Livius.
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
I don't know.
I was so mad at that because I was like, oh, just let him tell you.
know.
Who cares
Right.
if someone sees? They're not going to
Yeah.
really know what's
Yeah.
going on.
And even if they did, yeah, like they're gonna see a face. They don't know what he looks like. Just Harry was talking to a dude in the fire. Who cares?
And then it was Ron. He was even more pissed off.
But they do know what he looks like. It's Sirius Black.
Oh, 'cause
His
he was in
face
the
has all been
newspaper
over
and
the
stuff.
news.
You're right.
It is Ron, so that's annoying.
But he got a haircut now.
Yeah,
so
but
he might be
he
less
he
recognizable.
looked different.
He looked different. He
though.
looked fuller. He looked younger, which is great. I love that. Love that for him.
But if you're standing in front of someone that is talking to you in a fireplace, you
Yeah.
block them and you just tell them to be quiet.
yeah, or just like take it,
That bothered
take a
me.
sheet and drape it over.
You don't have to
This
send
is-
them
Lives are
away.
at stake.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the one point I want to defend Harry a little bit here, because I kind of like that he did this, and I think this is maybe the shining attribute of Harry over everything else is that he is not willing to compromise on his saving other people.
Yeah.
That he would actually rather die himself in the Triwizard Tournament fighting a dragon than let Sirius be discovered and let Sirius be caught. And so the lightest trace of a door opening and someone's footsteps coming down, he is like, Sirius, get out of here now, go. And I think that's one of Harry's most admirable qualities
Yeah,
is his
you're
desire
right.
to protect other people that he really truly does love. And he really, really, truly loves Sirius. I think you see this in this instant. And this is one of the most heartwarming instances because he really pours out his whole heart. He's like, everything's happening. This is crap. Just like, help me out. And then at the moment that Sirius is really going to help him out in this book, we're like, everything that goes to crap and it sucks.
He could have just blurted it out as he was
I know.
leaving.
Just yell the spell and call it a day.
Ask Hermione, it's something with da-da-da.
I know.
Like, I don't know.
Do something.
One
I know.
word. Just say anything.
But I also loved when Sirius was talking about Bertha Jorkins. Because I was like, oh, like it pieced everything together. Like, she's not all there. She's kind of be lured into anything. And then she was the one that told Voldemort or Wormtail about the Triwizard. And I'm like, oh, okay, like now we're piecing everything together.
Yeah.
I feel like I still wasn't sure about that until he explained it.
Yeah.
I'm curious why it was rumored that Voldemort was in Albania. Because according to what we're thinking, he wasn't there. He was in England this whole time, 200 miles from Privet Drive.
Yeah.
So, or did they say kilometers? I don't remember. But Albania, it feels like that whole rumor might have just been Wormtail doing work for Voldemort. Or there's a lot more going on than we realize.
I'm sure there is. But I was thinking the same thing with Wormtail.
Oh, actually, maybe Wormtail went to Albania.
Yeah.
Bertha Jorkins, death, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
But
she's gone. Then he comes back. Maybe he was on a mission to Albania already for something else. Happened to run into her there.
No, I feel...
So wasn't that it? Was it not happen to run
No,
into him?
sorry, continue.
And then I was just thinking afterwards, once he got back, they milk the snake. Then they both can go back to Albania to finish what Wormtail was starting the first time when he ran into Bertha. So maybe those rumors that Sirius is referencing are actually Voldemort because Voldemort went back to Albania with Wormtail after the fact to finish whatever Wormtail was trying to do over there. Maybe?
That's a great point. But I think otherwise.
Did they lure her over there?
Sounds like a great point.
Or was it happenstance? I feel like I need to reread the beginning of the first chapter.
I don't really remember. But I think Wormtail went to help Voldemort come back to life or like to nurse him back to life in Albania because he then ran into Bertha Jorkins and then like Voldemort killed her. So that had to be in Albania. And I don't know why would they travel so much if he's not well or like he's weak.
So
that I really know
bring him
where they're
back to
traveling.
a little bit of life, so he's a shriveled human thing, and then carry him back, apparate back to England.
That's true. You can. I don't know.
Maybe no, I don't. I have no
Maybe
idea.
your thing is right. I think
sense. Where's Romania relative to Albania?
this is where I need a map.
There's a lot
You guys
going on
need
in
to show
Eastern
me.
Europe there. That's like north of Greece, south of Ukraine, maybe. A couple countries in there that I'm not.
Yeah, Albania
super
is
familiar
near
with.
Greece. It's near North Macedonia, Serbia, and Montenegro. Bosnia, Herzegovina.
Yep, that helps
So
me
Sorry,
a lot.
Serbia, not
A
Serbia,
little bit
Montenegro.
east. Okay.
Huh?
What?
She said, yeah, that helps me.
Well, there's just a lot of wizarding action over there because that's where Charlie is with the dragons in Romania. So there's a hub of wizards over there.
It is one country away from Bulgaria. And Romania is right above Bulgaria.
You're right. They keep coming up.
And that's where Crumb is from, right?
Crumb is the Bulgarian seeker.
Yep.
I always thought Albania was further north, but Albania looks lovely. If I was Voldemort and like a
Crumb was
shriveled
doing
soul, I would
crummy
definitely want to go to Albania and just like go retire on the coast of Albania. Oh my goodness. It's like right by the boot of Italy. You kidding me?
Yeah, I heard it's really pretty.
All right,
coworker
new trip. We're
Albanian.
gonna go. That's our first one. We'll go to Albania, find Lord Voldemort, kill him, and
Excellent.
then we'll start the
Nice.
rest of the
Then,
journey.
yes,
Because
exactly.
you know all the spells, John. You'd carry this team.
No, Jen would be going Wingardium Leviosa. Okay, we raise him in the air and we just drop him.
Yep.
Oh, you could deal with the dragon. No, I'm just kidding because it has wings. So you
No,
can
we
do it.
tangle him with the tent. That is what I said. Tie him up.
Okay. We probably talked about a lot of chapter 20 already. So,
True, yeah.
but very quickly, give me a summary of chapter 20. I mean, it's quite simple. It's involved, but it's simple.
The first task
Yeah. It's-
of the
Yes.
Quad Wizard
Quad Wizard Tournament, yeah.
tournament.
Yeah,
And they go into
Mhm.
detail about each encounter with the dragons, their
Yeah.
own dragon.
and one of the first things that we did.
Ron
Yeah.
and Harry become friends again.
Yeah, that was
Re-
wonderful. That was a fun part. We'll get to that in a sec. But this starts off with something that annoys me a little bit, but Harry destroying Cedric's handbag, the new one that he just got.
Over the line.
I know. I'm like, just trip him or something like that.
Or just like go talk to him. It just
Yeah.
felt like
Because
ink
Har-
everywhere now
Yeah.
and the whole thing.
because Harry didn't want to talk to the rest of the people around Cedric, so he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna sabotage him and destroy the bag that he just got. Come on, Harry.
I
little
hope the
rough.
reparo
Yeah.
spell works.
Yeah, hopefully. Hermione will be able to fix that quick.
Yeah,
Anyway, that
something
was a quick rant.
I had to
Forgot
listen
about
to
that.
that a couple times. I was
And there
like,
were no
"Wait, why
guarantees
did he
it was
do
gonna
it?"
work.
Yeah.
And then I was like, just to get them away?
Yeah.
I was
But what
just
if they
like-
all stayed to help him clean his stuff
Yeah.
up, and then
Right.
it would be the same thing?
I know.
But with a
Yeah,
ripped
they're not
bag.
good friends because they're like, okay, bye.
Well,
I got. Oh, because
That-
Cedric was like,
yeah, that
I
spoke to
got it.
the character of Cedric. I like that about Cedric. He's
Mm.
like, no, guys, just tell the professor I'll be late.
Yep.
I'll just do this myself. I like him. Cedric is an upstanding guy. I really like Cedric.
Yeah,
Except
he seems legit.
he seems more of an animal abuser than Harry, because he sends a Labrador out
Because he is
for a dragon to
dog.
go devour.
Mm.
Oh, Wes.
And I'm
poor
saying that
Wes.
because Wes is right there sleeping. He's a cutie. Yeah, my first question on this chapter was, how would you feel if you got a new handbag and Harry Potter comes and splits it down the middle?
Split him in the middle.
Oh yeah, I would not like.
I was just thinking of another handbag story.
Oh gosh.
Oh no, you got a handbag story. Let's hear it.
It's not my
No,
story to
not
say,
ours.
Ah,
but
Maybe
classic.
later.
that would be terrible.
Yes.
You know what is weird? That Harry and Hermione walked around the lake 3 times.
Yeah.
There must be multiple lakes, maybe, or something, because how it just doesn't make sense. Walk around the lake. Now maybe I got a bit of movie lake in my head.
Yeah.
And also I refuse to accept that it's not Loch Ness.
And Loch Ness
But-
is huge.
So lake. Now we're thinking freshwater. Maybe it was just low tide and there was a spot they could walk. But like all the pictures I have of a lake are gigantic. You don't walk around it 3 times. You hike around it once, and it would take you like all day, maybe. Also, I know it's
What kind of
magic,
lakes are
so
you
it doesn't
thinking
really
of?
make sense. What?
I'm just thinking of a lake down in where I went to school.
Well, like they could be reasonable. Yeah, like small and whatever. But I'm picturing
it's
the
like a
Hogwarts, this
stuff.
castle is on a lake that's like gigantic. You know, like they have to sail across it with the first years when they get there. And like I'm
We're
picturing
talking a really, really long time.
Yeah. And so it's possible. But also Durmstrang sailed there. So
Yeah.
I pictured,
Oh,
granted it's
yeah,
magic,
yeah.
they could fly. I don't know what the ship can do. But I was picturing it was like a submarine and kind of did the whole journey underwater. So
Okay.
it would have to be a saltwater lake connected to
okay.
the ocean. So that's how the ship got there. So now I'm like, these things don't seem to fully align. And even in the movies, again, it was a lock. It was like
Yeah.
connected to the sea at some point. So now I'm like, they walked around it. I don't buy it. How? Maybe low tide. That's all I could gather.
Can't there be another lake nearby?
Well, that's what I'm
That's what-
saying.
yeah,
Maybe
that's what you're
multiple.
saying.
Like this is like an additional pool, like a bonus
love
lake.
the way
this is
your
a pond.
brain works.
You can walk around it 3 times while you're having one conversation.
Yeah.
Sure, totally fine. But the lake, like the one that we've
It
got
says the lake.
squids in it and
In there.
everything and whatever. It doesn't say. We don't know.
So
Sorry, I just really want to find Hogwarts, and
I
this
know
is
you
making it
do.
so
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah. Unless she has her time turner. Did a little
You're
turn.
You just
at the
said she
beginning of the
handed
day
it
again.
back in.
I know, yeah, for sure. I'm
But
just
maybe
messing.
not.
Yeah, maybe not.
for sure, he says.
I think you definitely still have movie lake in your head, and I think in the books it's a little bit smaller.
A smaller
there's
lake,
a squid
more
there.
reasonable.
Yeah.
How would a sailboat get in there?
Huh?
The Durmstrang came in a huge boat,
Yeah, I
so
know.
if it's a little lake,
Yeah,
how
it's
is
true.
that happening?
It's got to be somewhat sizable.
It just opens up and then goes back to small.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question.
I think of
This-
Pirates of the Caribbean. Someone brought that up, right?
Yeah.
Mm. Like
Yeah.
coming out of like
Davy
the whirlpool.
Jones.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a fascinating one. I think it's bigger than some people think, but probably not quite as big as the movies.
Okay.
But-
It just depends on the director.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Each one might be different.
Yeah. The lake looks different every single movie.
Maybe it changes size each day.
Yeah. We talked about this before too, but what are the character qualities that you like in Harry? And what are the ones that you actually really dislike? If we're going to do a character analysis of him.
I like that he sticks to his guns.
Yeah.
He kind of like, he trusts his gut a little bit. It's cool.
Yeah. He trusts his gut and Sirius and no one else.
And he sticks to his word too, which just goes along with that a little.
He's got a lot of nobility to him. He knows, well, I guess he knows the other people are cheating, and he knows Cedric is the only one who doesn't know. So I love Harry's righteousness and going to tell him. Even Moody says that's a very noble thing you did. Right?
I can't stand how stubborn he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes I like it.
Yeah, it can be a good quality.
Yeah, if it's about good things. Yeah.
Right. In
What
case
is
of
the
Ron,
what
not
is the
so
good
much.
word of stubbornness?
Steadfast.
Steadfastness. Yeah. Steadfastness is the positive spin on being stubborn, and he's very steadfast.
Selfish sometimes.
Yeah. Wait, selfish in what way?
Like, I don't think he thinks of the consequences that it'll like hurt other, like him putting himself in danger is selfish sometimes when it's unnecessary, and his friends and family most of his friends, are like worried for him or afraid or whatever. So that's where I'm coming from, like selfish. Maybe there's a better word.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. He's almost like being selfish in the ways that he thinks he's being unselfish. In the ways he's trying to protect other people, sometimes he just needs to let those people make their own decisions and do their own things. And he's done this with Sirius in the past before, and he's done this with Ron and Hermione too. Like, he needs to stop being so selfless that he's being selfish. But then Moody pulls him into his office now. Oh, are you going to say that?
No, I was going to ask Kristen. She always has a great character analysis.
I don't have anything. I'm trying to like dig into the trenches of my mind, and I can't.
I'm always like, Kristen has the psychology of like
Yeah,
all
right?
our characters. I'm
You know
like, what are you
In
going to
some
say?
Specific instances, it's too
Yeah,
broad
I know.
for my mind.
Yeah, I'm the same. If someone asks me like, oh, like if personality tests, I'm like, everything's circumstantial in these. I can like do this one thing and this one and another one in this. And then Harry kind of is the same too. He doesn't trust people, but every once in a while he surprises you.
Yeah.
Like even his outpouring for Sirius right here, that's kind of like a surprising little thing. It took me by surprise.
Yeah.
And some of the things that he conceals, some of his absolute stubbornness, like his inability to mend the relationship with Ron earlier was a little shocking for me too. I'm like, this is his best friend. And I know like sometimes best friends get roused like this, but Harry's desire for friends so much and family should lead him to mending this quicker. So yeah, I think you're right. Everything is circumstantial and situational with him.
I don't know. Maybe I'll come up with something in an hour.
Yeah. When you're driving home. Oh, guys, I have this great point. How do you like Moody's dark detectors? So he has a few. Do you remember what they are?
They're cool.
Secrecy
sensor?
So he has a sneakoscope. Then
Yeah, yep, that's what I was saying.
And that has the mile radius. And it's spinning like crazy.
It literally said a mile radius.
Yeah.
I missed that. Okay.
And a secrecy sensor, right?
Secrecy sensor. Yep. What is that one?
It vibrates when it detects concealment and lies.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Squiggly
always
golden
doing
area.
it. He said at the school.
And then he has the mirror, right? Or the faux glass.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Yeah, I was hard to understand what that one was. I was like,
So it's a mirror that the blurrier your enemies, the farther they are away from you in actual proximity to you. The more refined and close they are, and like more that you can actually see them clearly, they're closer to you in proximity.
gotcha.
So like if you end up
Faux
seeing one
glass.
perfectly,
Oh,
you're like,
okay.
oh, he's right behind me.
So that's when he says
Oh,
seeing the
okay.
whites of their eyes.
Yeah.
Meaning like they're close
They're-
to the mirror. They're right there.
They're
Then he
literally
knows
behind
their
you.
proximity. They're also close.
Yeah.
But then it's weird because he's like, that's when I open my trunk. I'm like, what kind of gigantic wizard weapon is in this trunk? Like, don't open the trunk. I'm confused as why that solves his foe problem. But
He's got weapons of mass destruction.
yeah, but Harry's just like, okay, cool, you're Trunk. All right, on we go to other things. It's funny.
What do you think could be in the trunk? Do you think we're gonna find out, or is he just saying something weird?
Oh, there's something in the trunk. Moody doesn't mess around. And 7 keyholes?
To get into the trunk.
I guess. I guess at first I thought he had 7 different keys that would take a long time to open. Maybe it's like different people have keys. You got to bring them all together. Only when 7 people that are all at a certain level can. He's like, Dumbledore, quick, come here. Hagrid.
That
We
would
gotta
take
get-
forever.
Yeah, it would take so long. And that would be impractical if his foe was right there. So maybe
Right
never
behind
mind.
him. The whites of his eyes.
Think of this. What if he has all the people that he couldn't lock in Azkaban down in his trunk? Like
gosh.
the bins? Like trash bins? The person that came to attack him, he locked
He
in the
locked
trash
in the
bins
trunk.
and he literally put him in his trunk.
That's like the
That's why it's
Shia
7
LaBeouf
locks.
movie.
Yeah, that's why it's 7 locks. It's all those there. He has 7
Yep.
people down there.
The
That
Shia
is
LaBeouf
great.
movie where like his neighbor has all the
Disturbia?
Disturbia.
yeah.
That's a great movie.
Have you guys seen the movie Prisoners?
No.
That sounds like
Prisoners. Sounds a
something I
little
would.
Talked
Jake
about that, right?
Gyllenhaal, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen
What's his name? The singing Australian guy.
Hugh Jackman?
Hugh Jackman.
That's really
Nice. Could have been Russell Crowe. Not a good singer. but-
That's really great.
That movie is terrifying. Oh,
Wow, interesting. I feel like I need to see that. It sounds
yeah. It's
Cool.
phenomenal. It's their best. I think it's their best performances by far. I think
Whoa.
I think Hugh Jackman is the best he's ever done. And same thing, Jake
Whoa.
Gyllenhaal. There's another guy, Paul Dano, that does it. I think it's the best movie he's ever done by far. It is good, but it's terrifying. It's one of those movies I watched and I saw once, but it's about some guy who abducts another person. I'm like, Moody just has those people in his bins down in his. And he's got 7 keys because he's got 7 bins down there. Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
aha, okay. So I assumed that's when he opens his trunk to let a Dementor out or something else to like help
What page are you
him.
on?
But that's when he opens his trunk because he's about to throw a foe in there. That's the thing. He's like, when I see the whites of their eyes, I get ready to lock him in my trunk. I open it up just so it's ready for him.
Hey, that
Boom.
sounds pretty good.
That's so
Nice.
fascinating. That's a great turn of phrase right
Like, because
there.
that actually makes almost more sense for Moody.
Yeah,
where it's like
for
he's
real.
so confident. He's just like, when my foes are near, I get ready to be victorious, basically.
Huh.
That's pretty funny.
What
That's
page are
so
you on?
fascinating. I had never thought of that.
Oh, 343.
Thank you.
We're just going back very briefly on this character study of Harry. We have a comment here. Harry was more hurt that he was that Ron was the first friend he ever had, and that friend didn't believe him when he said he didn't put his name in the goblet, which I think is really true. And he covered that hurt with anger at Ron,
Yeah.
which I think again is true.
Yeah.
Harry is. I do feel pretty bad for Harry in this instance. But he does have Hermione next to him, who's helping him, but it's just not quite the same, like he mentions later. So with Moody is essentially helping Harry cheat here too.
Yeah.
How do you like this? How do you like the idea of
Moody's
cheating
like,
in the
I'm not
tournament?
going to show any
Yeah.
favoritism. But what I will give is general advice.
Make the thing that you are good at come to you. Come on, Harry.
Well, that's what I'm forgetting what it actually says at the end of the chapter. Who dismisses it? Like, everybody cheats. It's normal. Bagman, is that what he
Bagman.
says? Like, when he's talking to Harry. I guess I just don't like that because it's so vague.
Yeah.
But if you think that everyone else is going to be cheating, and then you have to also cheat, but then are there really any rules? Like, I guess I'm thinking this comes up for me in I was thinking almost poker, like bluffing, or the game Mafia. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever played the game. You know, everyone puts their heads down, all the villagers go to sleep, and then the mafia wakes up and kills people. You play with your friends, and then the sheriff has to figure out who the mafia is. And ultimately, you're stuck lying to your friends and trying to bluff and say, I'm not the mafia, he's the mafia. I heard he made a noise when the mafia
Just
woke up,
learned
or
that
whatever that
last
game
year.
is. So I would always face that dilemma, like, how far do I go in the game to lie directly to the people that I love, that I'm playing this game with? And it always feels so weird. But it's like within the game, you just embrace that you're gonna lie, you're gonna whatever. And I used to try and do it with no lying, and that was fun too. But I'm wondering, is that what this is? Within the Triwizard Tournament, it is accepted that trickery, sneaking around, cheating is part of the game. It's like, who can find out what the tournament is going to be before it actually starts? Who can spot the dragons? Who can do better research and have better like informants? I'm adopting that mentality because otherwise we're witnessing Harry cheat in like 5 different ways before it starts, and that feels weird too.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, at this point, I'm embracing the idea that the Triwizard Tournament is not perfect. It's got a lot of flaws, even with the judges. And the idea is to do whatever you need to do to win.
Yeah.
But I thought we were saying it's survival for Harry.
It is, yes, totally. And that's another out for Harry. But even if it wasn't survival, even for Cedric, like, did Cedric then go into the library and start reading about dragons? He took the information Harry gave him.
He already had Transfiguration book with him.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe he was too noble and he said, because Harry said it immediately. Harry didn't say, do you want me to tell you what the first challenge is? Harry just said, it's dragons. Boom. So Cedric didn't even have the chance to turn him down.
Yeah.
But if he was given the chance, would Cedric have turned him down?
That's
or
a
is it just
fascinating
accepted
one,
that this is part of it? If you get a chance to learn information, you got to take it. And that's how Harry got in the tournament to begin with. He's not above the age limit. But Dumbledore drew the age line, and if someone could find a way past it, it felt like it was kind of like, hey, if you find a way through this, you can be in.
That's another interesting one too, because it's students, so none of them really truly have a choice in whether they want to cheat or not. Their teachers are their teachers are vicariously living through them, like I am vicariously living through you guys reading this for the first time. But their teachers are ultimately ones that want to win more. It's like when you have a bad coach who is reliving his glory days, and all he wants to do is win, so he runs you ragged, and they get you to cheat in every which way. You know, like it's a coach who ends up, you know, like letting his players take steroids in high school or something like that because he is so obsessed with winning, he cannot let that go. Karkaroff, Maxime seem like that. Dumbledore is more noble, and Moody's even said that because Moody was the one that even said everyone cheats in the tournament, I think. And I needed to get Dumbledore to recognize that.
Yeah.
Oh, Moody says that. Is that in this conversation?
It's all right, said Moody. Cheating's a traditional part of the Triwizard Tournament and always has been.
Yeah.
So not Bagman, or maybe Bagman said it too, but the fact that Moody's saying it always has been, interesting.
Yeah.
But I find it funny they all cheated, but they still had not the greatest.
They didn't come in that prepared.
It didn't seem like it.
And yet Sirius had a nice simple charm ready to go, or spell, just like, oh yeah, it's real simple, just do this. Curious what it's going to be.
But Cedric already had the Transfiguration book in his bag that fell out.
Nice.
So he was already practicing.
Yeah, that was a great catch actually. I didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah.
So his Transfiguration skills were good. Like he honestly, if he didn't know about it, he might have done the same thing and done it pretty well.
Yeah.
He didn't get a lot of time to rethink this.
It's true, yeah.
I mean, Harry didn't get a ton either, but he got maybe at least an extra night to think about this.
Enough to get his fireball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
I just still find it so interesting. Like, you have to concentrate more and say it a certain way for the spell to work. And I don't get it.
Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's kind of always evaded me too. I think we've talked about this before, but I think there's different spells that are like, it's almost like, but it's a really confusing point. Because this spell seems like riding a bike. Once you get it, you get it. But at the same point, it requires concentration. So is there a point where you can just mess up this spell? Even if you've done it a million times, can you say this word and it won't, whatever you're summoning won't come to you? And I don't know.
I'm trying to like parallel it to something.
Same.
'Cause I'm even thinking of dance. So I have one instance of this move that I was doing and I could not get it. And I did it a million times. I kept falling or twisting weird. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if a different teacher kind of explained it a different way or whatever it was, but I got it and it clicked. And then I was able to just do it naturally.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if maybe some kind of parallel with that. You know, it's hard because it's just words.
Exactly,
but like to connect it to like a physical movement, maybe it's like that type of muscle.
And maybe it is muscle memory of the brain, right?
Right.
So maybe you're like exercising one part of the brain so that when you do that spell again, like you can actually have perfect muscle memory of how you did that when it worked. I guess it's kind of true of Harry and the Patronus charm in the third book too. Maybe that was like muscle
Yeah.
memory of him.
Mhm.
He saw himself doing it, so he was like, I can do this, and then he's just able to do it.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
Yeah, I
Yes,
feel like
that helps.
I'm thinking of whistling, like when you try and whistle with a blade of grass or
Yeah.
like an acorn. You can blow on that thing a million ways, it won't work, and then one day it just clicks, and you're like, oh, now I can
Yeah,
whistle.
now you just get it.
I've never been able to do that.
Me neither.
Well, one day it's gonna click, guys.
Yeah.
There's
No, that
still-
is that is very true. I remember. I think I even told this story maybe a while ago when we were having this conversation. But I remember I was trying to learn how to whistle with 2 fingers in your mouth, and
Yep.
I couldn't get it. And I remember I was at a basketball game. My mom could do it, and she taught me how to do it. She's like, "You do this. You fold your tongue behind your mouth, and you just have to find that sweet spot." I remember the entire time at the basketball game, annoying her to no end because I was trying to do this whistle, and I was like, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Phew," and I was like, "Oh, I did it!" And then
Oh,
once
man,
you
moment
find
of
that, once you
victory.
find that sweet spot, it's easy. Like you need to refine things and get it, but like once you find that, you're good. But it takes a while to find it, you know?
And I
Yeah.
think from the outside, like whether it's a dance move or whistling or anything else, it would look very similar to somebody who doesn't know the difference. Maybe
Yeah.
they're like, it looks like you have the right form for whistling, or wait, was that not the move? I thought you just did it. No, it's not right. I want it to feel this way. So maybe that's how it is. Like it sounds like Harry's got it, but not fully.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's it. That's a great point.
That helps me, guys. Thanks.
Oh, perfect. There you go. What do you think of Bagman trying to help Harry in the tournament, though? So, do you think it's different of Bagman helping him than it is Moody helping him? Do you think Bagman's was? I mean, Bagman's just seemed a little bit more shady, right? Maybe that was just me reading it.
I think he's just so like energized and like excited that he's just too much for Harry to like trust in a way.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you.
I
You want me to tell
interpreted
you?
it kind of like pleasant, like he was excited, kind of eager, reliving his own glory days, even though it was
Yeah.
Quidditch, a little different. But like he just loves the energy. He's all excited. Harry, you need some help, because he probably thought of a solution and he's just excited about it.
I wonder if it would have been the same since he was a Quidditch player too.
It
right?
honestly could have been. Maybe he would have referenced that right away. But I love that he lowered his voice conspiratorially.
Yeah.
I'm like, that sounds a little shady, but it also feels like he's on Harry's side. Like he's showing some favoritism towards Harry. Either that or he was trying to sabotage him, and Harry dodged a bullet with this one. But Harry denied him. So
I
we'll never
liked
know.
your way. Like, just tell me what it is. I'm still gonna stick to what I'm
no
doing.
downside.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Okay. I'm just gonna throw this out there. There is possibly one downside. That Bagman is the one that wants Harry killed.
Yes. So if he listens, it potentially lets Bagman get in his head in
Yeah.
some way. Yeah.
Yep. So like he's able to take advantage of Harry in this instance. And then the next task, even if maybe Bagman's
then he would listen
responsibility
to
is
the
to get
next time.
here. So maybe he's like, Harry, say this spell, and it makes the dragon even angrier, and like it releases all the fury of the dragon, so the dragon just comes and kills him or something like that. Because I don't care if you have.
Is that what
100
Harry's thinking? You would think.
I don't think that Harry's necessarily thinking that. Bagman seems like a likable character, so maybe
Yeah, he's on my list though. Of, like,
yeah, for sure.
leery people.
Because we've liked people before and they've betrayed us, you know, in these books. She's very good at that.
Fickle characters.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a possibility. Other than that, like Harry should take this advice, and Harry, I think, has enough wisdom to know whether it's going to be good advice or bad advice,
Yeah.
or whether he'd follow it or not. But if Bagman really is the one that wants Harry dead, then he shouldn't take this advice at all. He shouldn't. Harry did exactly what he should have done, which is no, I'm okay.
And I don't expect that Voldemort's got some grand plan for the first thing. I feel like whatever this trap is, I'm thinking of it as a trap, not trying to kill Harry. If it is a trap, I'm thinking that would come up in the third one. So even if Bagman gave him good advice and helped him get through, it might have just been to build his confidence and a trust between them, so Harry makes it to the round 2. And then round 2, Bagman can do it again. And then all of a sudden they're a team. And then round 3 is where it's a curveball.
Yeah.
And then that's when Harry's most vulnerable because he just trusted someone he shouldn't. So either way, not a bad thing. Now that Harry made it through, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But if his summoning charm didn't work and he didn't get the broom, he would have had nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Did he have a backup plan at all?
No.
Would have been nice if Bagman gave him like a plan B. So Better than death. Or maybe he did and we just didn't hear about it. He did
Yeah.
walk around the lake 3 times after all.
Yeah.
So maybe him and Hermione came up with some other plans. But
It's a great point.
also I love that he left the Great Hall with Professor McGonagall and she didn't seem herself. She looked nearly as anxious as Hermione. She had a lot of money riding on this.
Yes.
Guys,
Oh,
I like to
makes
think
me
she
so
was worried
happy.
about Harry.
I was like getting her to go like, oh yeah, she really loves him. And then he's like, she had a lot of money on this bet.
And it comes up again because when they're talking about it, I think it was maybe after it was all said and done, Bagman said something about the odds, that Harry's odds, confirming it. So I'm like,
Yep.
let me go find that at the end of the chapter.
He said the odds on Harry will be a lot less now or something like that.
I do
because
remember that.
He did really well in this task. Or when he was flying.
Oh,
But
I
you're
think it was
taking
toward the
that as
very
a
end.
bet? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
poor McGonagall.
There is how do you think there's betting that's happening?
This is going to shorten the
Oh, yeah.
odds on
There's gotta
Mr.
be.
Potter.
Okay.
Why else have odds if there's
Yeah.
not betting?
So
Why
do you think
can't
there's
it
a
be a
bunch of
winner?
adult wizards betting on these children to
That's
see who's going to
horrible.
win?
That is horrible, and they definitely are. Yep, you're right. Because these two would be.
Yes, they'd be right in with it.
How much money do you think Fred and George are betting on this tournament? Right now?
Gosh.
You're right. They use their aging
I was
thing.
gonna say,
It couldn't
well,
pass
did
the
they
age
bet their
line, but they
winnings
can at
from-
least go in.
Yeah.
From,
Oh, the
Quidditch match?
The Quidditch. Oh,
Yeah,
you're
seriously.
right.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good, I guess.
They went double or nothing on Harry winning the Triwizard Tournament.
They're definitely in on that.
That's
Wow.
pretty
Yeah, that's interesting, but maybe it sounds like it. It really does.
Any other thoughts on this chapter? Besides Harry, is Harry your favorite person who went about getting past the dragons? Who's the next favorite?
Oh, let me look at what they
We
did
Yeah.
again.
yeah, we don't know exactly what they did, but
Crumb
Cedric.
did. Oh yeah, you could say.
So Crumb did a spell right in the eye,
Mm-hmm.
and it knocked the dragon over, crushed some of the eggs, but he still got it.
Mm-hmm.
Floor tried to put the dragon to sleep somehow,
Mhm.
and it
It
kind
did
of
go
worked.
to sleep, but then it snored.
Yeah,
and the
and snored
fire
and
came out.
just
Oh, that's
a little
right.
jet of fire came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Cedric sacrificed a Labrador. Rest in peace.
No, it didn't eat
Labrador.
it. Stop.
So dramatic.
Because it went back for Cedric.
Yeah, that's true. Halfway through, it changed his mind. So Cedric starts transforming every rock into a Labrador.
Yeah, whole army of dogs just running.
The
Actually,
one thing
wouldn't
I
be a
didn't
bad idea.
understand though is that Floor shouldn't have been able to lull the dragon, right? Because they were saying I thought you needed a ton of wizards to do that. So that made me think of her wand with the Vila hair.
Oh, wow. That's a great point. The Vila naturally woos people in trances. So maybe because she has that wand, she's actually able to do more advanced magic
that's a
and
great
wooing
point.
people. And oh my gosh.
Oh,
I'm like writing this down. Bring this up on the subreddit. See if any fans have theories about this.
is that what you're doing? You're
Yeah,
typing?
literally. I'm taking notes on certain things. Yeah, you guys had some good stuff this podcast. Yeah, anything else that you guys saw in this?
I like the chapter a lot.
Yeah.
It was
These
really.
are really good ones.
I like when Hermione said they were both stupid.
Oh, this is one of
It
my
was just
favorite
like she had a
lines.
good one-liner, and I
Yeah.
was just like, "Oh yes!" It was like funny, but like meant something.
I was
like,
just
"Yeah,
about to
Hermione."
read that. Oh, the whole
So
entire
good.
interaction. Harry, Ron goes, Harry. He said very seriously, "Whoever put your name in the goblet, I reckon they're trying to do you in." It was as though the last few weeks had never happened, as though Harry was meeting Ron for the first time, right after he'd been made champion. Ron grinned nervously at him, and Harry grinned back. Hermione burst into tears. "There's nothing to cry about," Harry told her, bewildered. "You two are so stupid." I love that so much.
And then she
Hermione,
runs off
Yeah.
crying, and Ron's like barking mad. I
I
can just
know.
picture him saying it. It's so great.
I do love Ron's defense of when Karkaroff gives him a bad score. And he goes, he's
yeah.
livid at him. I'm like, he finally gets his friend back fighting on his side. I love that.
And Harry loved it more than the. He could have given me a
Yeah.
0, and I would
Yeah.
have been happy
Yep.
with.
And I love that now everyone was cheering for Harry. Maybe not the Slytherins, but Hogwarts was uniting here
Yes.
and cheering for Harry and Cedric.
Yes.
Which is great.
Love that. Love some good unification over the Hogwarts champions.
I'll say this. Tied for first. Almost kind of nice.
Yeah.
Could have given him 3 and put Crumb in the lead. Maybe that's where he drew the line and said, all right, I'll give him 4. That way they're tied for first. That's reasonable. But Karkaroff could have given him a 3 and made Crumb the leader at this point. So I don't know if that means anything.
In your mind, it does.
Well, let me see. Was he the
that's
last one?
You with your
Yeah, Crumb was
numbers.
the final person, right?
No, Harry was the final.
Or sorry, Karkaroff was the final
judge.
judge to
Yeah.
give the numbers. Yeah. So he really did have all the power at that point. And he made the decision to give him a tie for first.
Yeah.
Didn't even think
Which
that.
I don't know if that means anything. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it could even be bad because if Karkaroff already knows some stuff that's coming up in future challenges, maybe your placement on one challenge determines where you go in another challenge. So maybe he wanted Harry to get a certain position.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's something to be wary of, though, I guess.
Yeah. But now wait until February for the next challenge.
I know. Agony.
Long time.
And the clue is in the egg, so we're going to try to figure out what's going on in this egg, what the clue
Yes.
actually
Wait, what's the time frame for where they are now to February 24th?
This is
is. November.
I forget
Okay.
what day in November,
I'm
though.
totally-
Let's just say it's November, the day we're recording right now. We're in November.
Whoa.
And then we're not going to get till the next task till February, guys. Our reading has to really slow. I'm just kidding.
Jen's gonna murder you in your sleep.
Keep on
Please give me the death look. I will not do that. We're going home and we're reading the next few chapters.
And I love that Harry got his mic drop moment with Rita Skeeter.
Yeah.
Oh
When
yes.
he said goodbye.
Nope.
Yes.
That
Goodbye.
was so good.
That was amazing.
She's going to turn that into something.
Yes, you can have a word,
Exactly.
Harry said savagely. Goodbye.
Oh,
Love it. This is so random, but I gotta get my own copy of Men Who Love Dragons Too Much.
Is that one of the books they
That's
read?
one of the books?
Yes. There was like
awesome.
a short little sentence. I don't know why that grabbed my
That
attention,
is
but I
really
was
funny.
like,
it's a great book title.
gotta get my own copy of
Man,
that.
who is Hagrid on that list?
Oh, he probably
Is he in
wrote
that
it.
book? Yeah.
yeah, right.
I also love, Harry kind of was talking about how much he loved Hogwarts. And he was like, this was the first time that I didn't he say something about the
Yeah.
first time
Yeah.
he wasn't like thrilled about Hogwarts? But I was like, it's not actually Hogwarts. It's Ron.
Yeah.
You know, he's like,
nice.
he's making the connection in his mind that he loves Hogwarts, but
Yeah.
And
it's
he-
the people.
He has a line in there that helps him. He thinks of Dudley, and he thinks he would rather deal with a dragon than have to go home to the Dursleys, which is profound and sad.
Yeah.
That would rather literally sit with dread in his stomach and deal with a dragon than he would rather go home with the Dursleys and live miserably.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Dursleys really did a number on him.
Yeah.
I like that the other champions were also scared too.
Yes.
Like that felt like a big moment because bless you. Because up until that point, I think I pictured the other champions as being a little more solid. But even when it went through the list, they were each showing fear and nervousness in their own way. And then I was like, all right, good. It's a bit more of an even playing field.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable response that they would all be nervous, which I felt like that was good.
Yeah. They're
Puts
like
Harry
human.
a little more up to their level.
I just
Yeah.
can't get over these are kids.
I know.
I know.
And they're like, okay, guys, let's test your skills. And you can almost die, or pretty much you can. Oh, no, you can die because it's happened.
Yeah.
And
We're
they
gonna
have
test your
no
skills.
Nesting,
signing
mothering
consent that
Nursing
they're.
dragons. Yeah.
I wonder if there's no with wizarding. It seems opposite. I was thinking about the Olympics because you hit your physical prime for some of these sports so young.
Yeah.
But for wizards, I feel like you hit your prime
No.
way later.
Like a
runners hit their
Dumbledore.
prime in like late 30s or 40s. You marathon runners, not sprinters. And so maybe there's something
Really?
about that for wizards, but it's even later.
You
But
see like this
is there an
like,
element of that to high school?
there's like the skateboarding gold medals, and like there were like 11, 12, and 13-year-olds winning gold medals
Absolutely
for
nuts.
skateboarding.
Well,
and
they're,
like
yeah.
it was insane this
I
past
feel like
Olympics.
that makes sense.
Like some little Brazilian, I think, skateboarder just won gold medal for something absolutely insane. Even like some Americans are winning like snowboarding medals. Like Chloe
that
Kim
young.
was like
I can't remember.
15, 16 when she won her first gold medal in the Olympics. I'm like, that's insane.
That is
So maybe it is. Maybe
insane.
your magical. I don't think. I feel like your magical prime is like Dumbledore's age.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think-
You have to.
I feel like
really
the older
age
that you
into
get,
it.
yeah.
Because it
The
does seem
longer the
absurd
beard.
to do it so young. But
That's where all the magic is.
yeah, that's where he stores it. That's
You're
fascinating.
close.
I'm growing.
Yeah. You just got to keep growing it. Then when we go, you got to dye it white, and then we'll
Whoa.
go
I'm
as
just
cosplay to
building my wizard costume right now, slowly.
it.
Yeah, at the rate we're going, you will have a long beard out and about.
Oh, I'm never gonna live this down. Okay, we'll wrap this one up then, Jen, so you can read after. You can go home and read. Anybody besides Harry that you would give the House Cup award to? Hermione, maybe. Moody, maybe. Any other characters in these 2 chapters? Maybe Hagrid for showing Harry.
Yeah, I mean, those are the only ones that would be
Yeah.
in the running, you know, serious for talking
Yeah.
at the fire and stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it kind of has to be Harry. Hagrid did show him the dragons. That let him prepare.
If Harry doesn't get it for literally defeating a dragon.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's like our thought
Still
process
did
here.
the work, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah, you're right. It's got to be him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to get it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it's just 2 chapters and it's like pretty much one task. But what is your favorite moment in these 2 chapters?
Harry and Ron being friends again, I think.
Yeah.
The defeat of the dragon was great too, but I was more
Yeah.
emotional at the Harry and Ron reuniting.
Tearing up
Yeah.
like Hermione.
No, I didn't tear up, but I could have if I was in a different mood, probably.
Have you guys teared up yet at these books? Or gotten emotional?
Oh,
You
yeah.
haven't?
When was it, though?
think
I texted
so.
the group. It was in the
Yeah,
beginning.
That was a while. That was like one of the beginning ones. I can't wait to talk about
remember.
like later on. Everyone who's read them, there's parts that you cry at 4, 5, 6, and 7, and everyone has a different part they kind of tear up at or cry at. My
Great.
brother has a part that he cries at, and I never thought of this for anything, but he was like, "That one hit me," and I was like, "Yeah, that's so good. It's such a good part." I'm like, "I like it."
You're going to make us read this so you can record us crying. So
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yes. I could throw that question out on Reddit. What part made you tear up or cry?
I thought you were going to ask them what part
What
you
part
want
did-
us to read
Yes.
to tear up and
take
cry.
Oh, don't worry. They're gonna all. Oh yeah. Place bets just
Why?
like McGonagall. Guys, you are giving me so many notes to make on our subreddit right now. This is great. Anyway, Kristen and Jen, do you have a favorite moment in these chapters?
Well, I agree with what Danny said, but because of what I love to do when Sirius is giving information about Kakarov and Bertha Jorkins, the background, I love that stuff because then I could piece things together.
Yeah,
It's short, but
it was so good.
Yeah.
Though. So much in there.
and then Harry is like you were saying, spilling his guts finally. Like
Yes.
just let it go.
I know.
Right.
Finally.
Open up. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with you, Danny. The reconciliation of Harry and Ron. It was like, oh, finally. Like a weight was lifted.
That was like Hermione's reaction, probably.
Yes. I was like, yeah.
Finally.
So stupid.
You guys are so stupid. I think that's my favorite part too. When Hermione just goes, "You two are so stupid," just runs away. Oh, that's so great. All such a great 2 chapters, and then we get to read more. So
And even when when Ron is like, yours was the best out of all like 4 of them.
yeah,
Like, this is what they did, but yours was the best. Like, I thought that was a
such a pure
great
moment.
Like, yeah.
Good friendship again.
I'm wondering when it changed for Ron, when he saw it was dragons, or was there a moment during the actual competition?
Or when he almost got hurt, when he got
Like
hurt.
when he actually saw Harry come out, or when he almost got actually cut.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like there was a change when he came down the stairs.
Yeah, honestly, I was gonna say
With
that.
Sirius.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Because it
Yes.
was almost like I felt defeat in him. And it was like
He
the
was
fight kind of was
Harry
gone.
doesn't Harry throw the button at him or something?
Oh
like
my
that?
gosh,
Harry was being
yeah.
like
Yeah,
next level.
yeah. Harry
Yeah.
was,
And-
Harry I wanted to fight.
Right. He
Yeah.
was like
I'm
making it
"Come on,
worse.
read the situation,
Yep.
child.
But Ron was very like self-controlled in that moment. It felt like it could have escalated, but it didn't.
Right.
Because
Yeah, I
Harry
feel like he
walked
just-
by him thinking that Ron was going to punch him, and he didn't.
Right.
I know.
Right.
But he throws the button or whatever and says, "Now you have a scar like
Yeah,
me.
hits him
Just
in
what
the
you
forehead.
wanted or
Gosh,
something."
yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it was so
Ridiculous.
good.
Oh
Some
my
colorful
Rough
words
lines.
from him right
Hey,
now.
that's what I predicted too. Since you use that.
It was
on
also
YouTube.
really cute that the Creevy brothers were trying to
I
charm
know.
the buttons and change the thing.
Oh, that
Yeah.
was really
When you
cute.
brought them up before, I was like, yeah, Harry, you should have befriended them.
I know. They're
No.
truly
They
would have
great
been-
people.
yeah.
I love them
They
so
had
much.
his back at that point. Because
Yep.
they were the only two, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, literally the only two people in like the whole school.
Yeah.
That,
Oh.
I know I was bad-mouthing Colin when he first showed up, but I take all that back.
This is a pro Colin podcast. We love Colin Creevy, and Dennis is his younger brother. Pro Creevy podcast.
Indeed.
Thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers.
Yay.
Nice. You guys give me so much good information right now. I can't wait to re-listen to this. And then throw everything on Reddit. I was literally typing up stuff I'm throwing on Reddit as you guys are speaking.
Oh, actually putting it on Reddit.
You
too.
can't
You
wait.
were?
So great.
Because I just can't wait for some of this stuff. You guys say stuff, and I'm like, yep, I need to put this on
Right
Reddit right now because I need answers.
Yeah. Find out
Right
about that
now.
wand thing. I want to know.
Our fans are really good at research and
are.
finding the
Well,
details.
yeah,
So
someone,
great.
we have the person who's watching right now, and they said that they always assumed it was because Flores Vila heritage, too.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
It's confirmed right there.
Love it. Thank you.
Anyway,
for
thanks for watching online, everyone.
Thanks, guys. I'm glad you got my Little Mermaid.
What?
I'm always the person that hears those random little things
Little-
that people say, and I'm like, I got you.
When was that? I missed it, obviously.
That was a while ago. What did you say?
We were talking about the good